the memory of the teacher.
The teacher's family says he knew about the prank and was playing along before the deadly accident. The family of a crossing guard who was killed in Layton wants to create a national holiday to honor him. KSL News Radio's Isabella Sosa has the story.
Stephen Wynn worked as a crossing guard in Layton for 2 years before he was hit by a car, killing him on the job just over a year ago on January 28th. Now, the oldest of his 10 kids, Jennifer Snowden, has launched a petition to make January 28th National Crossing Guard Day.
Whether or not we get this day recognized, which we are obviously hoping we do, we just hope that everybody will recognize the important roles that crossing guards play.
She says the family is still devastated by their father's death, and many don't realize how dangerous the job can be. Her petition is listed at change.org. Isabella Sosa, KSL News Radio.
The Utah Transit Authority is rolling out a new program designed to make the payment process easier for riders. It's called the UTA Fair Pay Card.
It's much easier and faster and simpler. You simply tap the card on the payment pedestal or on the fare validator, and then you get on quickly. It gives you the green light, and you're all set to go.
That was Gavin Gustafson at UTA. He says the new card can also save riders money because it caps the fare at $5 a day. First look traffic, here's Cormac Bone.
We don't have any major accidents or delays on I-15 between Ogden and Provo. It is a clean and clear drive, but we do have lights out, traffic lights malfunctioning, that is on 123rd South through Draper. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
We'll admit, we've already thrown in the towel on the New Year's resolution.
Yeah, and we made it through dry January. But one healthy new habit we're sticking with is Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to help protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Yup, more energy and the peace of mind knowing we can enjoy the good things in life while giving our liver the love it needs.
Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com. Or you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
Doug Wright here with Monty at Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer. Monty, give it to me straight. Why is Connecticut the premium choice over those standard electric softeners?
Doug, it comes down to this. Do you want an appliance you have to babysit? Standard water softeners have microprocessors and computers that need setting and adjustment. And they use a lot more salt. So you get to haul 40-pound bags of salt down to your basement every month or so.
And Connecticut?
Zero electricity, zero timers to reset, zero downtime, and uses 70% less salt. It's a higher standard of engineering that completely removes the hassle of owning a water softener.
That's what I love about my Connecticut. Dee and I never have to even think about it. We occasionally add a bag of salt and it just works, and I've never had to set or adjust anything. Do what I did and get the one that just works. Find out how soft your water could be at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Join Mike Stevens of Capital Wealth Advisors for Retire Right Radio, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. That's Retire Right Radio with Mike Stevens, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m.
Breaking news, we've just received new police documents on this officer-involved shooting in Draper yesterday. According to these documents, detectives were watching the home of Sean Shilaos as part of a drug investigation. They followed him from his home and onto I-15, where a Riverton officer pulled the car over. Shilaos was the driver, and police say his unknown passenger was armed and refused to give up his gun to police. After an altercation, the officer shot at the passenger, who was taken to the hospital in critical condition and later died from their injuries. Shilaos was taken into custody and booked into jail for drug possession charges. KSL Sports, the Utah Mammoths have signed forward Nick Schmaltz to an 8-year contract. Schmaltz will be making about $8 million a year under this deal and says Utah is where he wants to play for the rest of his career. Schmaltz currently ranks second on the team in goals, assists, and points. He scored 2 hat tricks, which is tied for the most in the entire NHL this season. We're going to chat about that with Utah Mammoth insider Cole Bagley around 12:15 this afternoon. The Mill Creek Youth Council are making their voices heard, giving their first ever State of the Youth address. KSL News Radio's McKenna Rodriguez has the details.
High School Senior and Youth Council Mayor Heidi Jackson delivered the address, which outlined their mission to teach Mill Creek youth about municipal government and provide them with community service opportunities. The council wants to support the city's youth as best they can, and Jackson says they surveyed their peers to understand their biggest concerns. Topping their list is feeling unsafe because of immigration enforcement and gun violence, the future of the Great Salt Lake, and feeling like they don't have a say in their school policies.
Jackson says in their survey, 32% reported feeling like their voices are not heard in their schools and in their community. Underprivileged kids are learning to box thanks to a new Ogden City program.
David Foley is the owner of Foley's Mixed Martial Arts Training Center, and he provides free boxing classes to underprivileged local kids with help and funding from Ogden City. He says it means a lot to him to be there for these students.
My own program that I charge for, and it's Monday through Thursday, but this program is Monday through Friday because I wanted the kids to just have a safe place they could go every day after school.
Foley says boxing teaches the kids confidence, discipline, and hard work, and they have frequent lessons about bullying and how to make sure they're using their training positively. And he believes this is a skill set they can use, since boxing is a very accessible sport that doesn't take a lot of money to be a part of. Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 12:10. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Here's Cormac Bone.
We do have a crash northbound I-215's westbound just after the I-80 interchange, blocking the right shoulder. And we also have traffic lights malfunctioning in Draper. This is on 123rd South between I-15 and 200 East. Traffic control authorities are in place helping drivers get through, but it is pretty delayed through the area. Whether you park it, stripe it, or pave it, GoPave Utah has your blacktop covered at gopavutah.com. That's gopavutah.com. Call or visit gopavutah.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Residual effects of yesterday's cool front will keep highs in the mid-50s today with mostly sunny skies. Breezy tomorrow, 67 and partly cloudy. By Friday, forecasting a high of 70 degrees with mostly sunny skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, it is 41 in Tooele and 43 in Salt Lake City. Coming up on Midday, we're going to chat with hockey insider Cole Bagley on a new contract extension for Mammoth forward Nick Schmaltz. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
My friend Joey loves to use old familiar sayings.
You know what they say.
The problem is,
don't look at a gift horse, cause you can't make them drink.
He gets a lot of them mixed up.
People who live in glass houses,
here it comes,
shouldn't cry over spilt milk.
There are also a lot of sayings in the financial world, like, you'll pay lower taxes in retirement. But for many people, it's just not true. You may have done a great job saving in that 401k or IRA, but Uncle Sam is ready to grab a big portion of that money. The team at Galileo Wealth Management can help with strategies that you can start now to lower your tax bill in the future. More for you and less for Uncle Sam.
Or as they say, an apple a day is worth two in the bush.
Get the facts on your tax bill in retirement. Call Galileo Wealth today at 385-247-7000. It's 385-247-7000 or online at GalileoWealth.com.
And remember, a stitch in time keeps the doctor away. Does, you know.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax. They know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Amanda, I've got a cruise planned in a couple of months, and I was thinking about the other people who may have cruises planned coming up a few months from now, and why right now would be the best time for them to begin their weight loss journey on Soda Weight Loss.
If you started right now, you could lose 20, 30, 40 pounds before June.
That's right.
I lost 37 pounds in 3 months, 3.5 years ago. And the beauty about soda is it's not a quick fix. This is learning that is going to last you the rest of your life and help you be healthy.
Your clothes fit better, your energy comes back, you don't get winded going upstairs.
Yeah.
Things that maybe you don't even realize. When I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, it felt like a transformation.
You learn what works for your body so you don't get addicted to shots or drugs. You just work with a nutritionist who's going to teach you how to keep the weight off for a lifetime.
Right now, you should go check out sodaweightloss.com, see all the thousands of before and after pictures, or speak with a nutritionist by giving a call 866-800-SODA.
Soda Weight Loss. Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
KSL News Time, 12:14. The three things you need to know this hour. First, police say the man shot and killed by an officer in Draper yesterday was driving with the suspect in a drug investigation. Second, a man in Roy has been charged with manslaughter after police say he shot another man in the head while they were practicing drawing their handguns from holsters. Third, traffic and weather together.
I-15, a clean and clear drive between Ogden and Provo. We do have normal delays due to construction in Lehigh and a crash on northbound I-215's West Belt just after the I-80 interchange. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Another day with highs in the mid-50s, but more sunshine. I'm Matt Johnson.
It's 43 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Now KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. On day 12 of the Iran war, President Trump says there's not so many more Iranian targets to hit, calling the military campaign a success, but says there are growing concerns over oil prices and whether the U.S. can degrade its nuclear program long term. The press speaking to reporters before leaving for events in Ohio and Kentucky. ABC's Selena Wang has more.
The president was also asked if he'd be willing to withdraw from this Iran conflict without getting the enriched uranium. Now, that has been the big question. The president wouldn't comment on that, but we've seen this mixed signaling from the president about saying this war has just begun. Has his defense secretary saying this is just the beginning, while the president has been saying this could be over very soon. At the same time, he has not ruled out the use of ground forces to get that enriched uranium still deep underground.
Iran continuing to block the Strait of Hormuz, a critical oil shipping canal. Iranian officials warning today if Iran's ports are threatened, quote, all ports and docks in the region will be our legitimate targets. ABC News has learned law enforcement in Western states were recently warned that Iran wants to retaliate for American attacks by launching offensive drones against California.
In a warning to law enforcement reviewed by ABC News, the FBI warns it recently acquired information that Iran allegedly aspired to conduct a surprise attack using unmanned aerial vehicles or drones from an unidentified vessel off the coast of the U.S. to strike unspecified targets in California. The warning came just as the Trump administration launched its assault against Iran. The FBI has declined to comment. The warning tells law enforcement that there is no additional information on timing, method, or targets. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
In Illinois, a reported tornado tore through Kankakee County about an hour south of Chicago, and in Indiana, 2 deaths are blamed on the storms. You're listening to ABC News.
KSL Sports. The Utah Mammoth have signed forward Nick Schmaltz to an 8-year contract extension. Joining me now live is KSL Sports Mammoth insider Cole Bagley. Cole, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Good, good. Well, tell us a little bit about Schmaltz.
Yeah, so Schmaltz is one of the veteran forwards for the Utah Mammoth. I believe he's 29, turning 30. And he has been just a critical piece for Utah as they begin to emerge from a rebuild. He's, Clayton Keller's partner in crime on that top line. And so bringing him back was, a big key for them as they, try to make the playoffs this season and beyond.
Right. Okay, so the contract was for $8 million a year. Is that pretty typical for a player like Schmaltz in the NHL?
Yeah, with the contract, with the cap continuing to rise over the next couple of years, getting a guy like Schmaltz who's playing top line minutes, who's playing on the power play, the power kill, and again, who is just so he's the perfect complementary player to the captain, Clayton Keller. To get him an $8 million AAV for the next 8 seasons is a good deal. It solidifies their top 6. It keeps them competitive. And, a lot of people might, kind of raise their eyebrow a little bit at the term given his age. It is 8 years, so it will see him through his, 38th birthday, I believe. But in order to keep him around and to keep that average annual salary lower, they had to give a longer term, which Utah was in a good spot to do. And, there's certain parts of this contract that will allow Utah to move Schmaltz if need be before that contract reaches, its full term.
Okay. And the Mammoth announced an 8-year contract with Logan Cooley last year. Is there anyone else we expect to stick around?
Utah's in an interesting place in terms of, where they're at in their rebuild, right? Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to become relevant. They're trying to make the playoffs, but at the same time, they're trying to buy time for their young prospects. They're TJ Gimla, Caleb Denoyer, Cole Baudouin, Daniel Boot, Dmitry Simashev. And so it's an interesting kind of in-between phase. They're going to have some contracts come off the books going into this summer, which will open roster spots for some of these younger players to potentially make. But, Schmaltz becomes, I believe, the 7th player to sign more than a 4-year extension with Utah. The likes of Dylan Gunther and Logan Cooley and several others, Jack McBain, which really signals how much players not only have enjoyed being in Utah, but the fact that they want to stay here long term.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much for the insight. I appreciate it. That was KSL Sports Mammoth insider Cole Bagley joining us. KSL News Time, 12:20. Traffic and weather together on the 9s every 10 minutes. Brought to you by UCCU. Direct deposit gets you $300. Love where you bank. Here's Cormac Bone.
We do have a crash northbound I-215's westbound at the I-80 interchange, blocking a right shoulder, but we don't see any delays behind them. Volumes on the road a little bit light as of right now. We are also seeing the normal congestion at the mouth of Big Cottonwood Canyon, both directions of Wasatch Boulevard, seeing a little bit of delays. And in Lehigh on Pioneer Crossing, we have scattered heavier volumes both directions from Redwood Road over to I-15 on Pioneer Crossing. Elevate your dining at The Roof, now serving lunch and dinner. Enjoy city views and fan favorites like Funeral Potato Bites and the Bacon Fig Flatbread. Visit theroofslc.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast calling for highs to top in the mid-50s today with mostly sunny skies. Definitely on the cooler side, but should be nice with sunshine. 67 tomorrow, partly cloudy skies and breezy. 70 by Friday, mostly sunny. We start to drop to 64 on Saturday, mostly cloudy skies. Clouds sticking around through Sunday, 55. We're going to bounce back to 65 as we work into your Monday, partly cloudy skies. Partly cloudy again, but 73 by Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday next week could be flirting with upper 70s, low 80s. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, it's 32 degrees in Park City and 43 in Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Maybe we should take a nap.
Yeah, smart. It was a big day yesterday.
Now this is a great nap.
Very restorative.
I feel so rested.
At Ovation Homes, taking it easy looks a little different. Single-level homes designed to keep you moving, not slowing down. Ovation Homes. Your best years start here. To learn more about your next home, find a community or speak to an Ovation specialist. Visit OvationHomesUtah.com.
We decided to downsize.
Less to manage.
Fewer stairs.
More friends.
Ovation Homes. Downsize the stairs, upsize the lifestyle. Your best years start at Ovation Homes. To learn more about your next home, find a community or speak to an Ovation specialist, visit OvationHomesUtah.com. That's OvationHomesUtah.com. Your best years start at Ovation Homes.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Buying a home or refinancing can be complicated. So who do you call? Who's trustworthy, has decades of experience, and can get you a loan done quickly? Who will work hard for you to find the great rate and reasonable closing costs? The answer's clear. Loans by Rick. Right now, Loans by Rick is giving a 30-year fixed rate at 5.5% and a 15-year fixed at just 4.625%.
He can't do that.
Oh, yes, he can. For over 25 years, Rick has helped people navigate the mortgage process and get the financing they need to buy a home or refinance. That even includes paying off debt with a cash-out refi. And because Loans by Rick works with over 80 bank and lending relationships, we shop multiple lenders to find you the very best deal. Whether you're buying a home or refinancing, call Loans by Rick at 801-809-SAVE. That's 801-809-SAVE, or visit loansbyrick.com. Rick Urgemont, NMLS 241179, Vintage Lending, NMLS 287106, Equal Housing Lender, 30-year APR 5.78%, 15-year APR 4.78%, some restrictions apply.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
A girl who was reported kidnapped from Southern California in 2020 when she was 5 years old has been found safe in North Carolina.
Karen Rojas disappeared from the Southern California city of Duarte in 2020 when she was 5 years old. She's now 11 and has been found safe enrolled in school under an alias in Washington County, North Carolina. Her mother, who had custody of her in 2020, allegedly took her and fled to North Carolina, where the two had been living. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department says Rojas is safe and in protective custody. Her mother has not been arrested. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Watching Utah's money, Spirit Airlines furloughed hundreds of its pilots, but now it's calling them back after many pilots took jobs with other airlines, leaving Spirit short-staffed, which could impact spring break travel. Ford is launching a new AI system for its Pro commercial paid subscribers. It's called Ford Pro AI, and it can monitor and analyze commercial vehicles for seatbelt use, vehicle health, gas consumption, and more. Meta has acquired the viral social media platform Moltbook for AI agents. The platform is formatted similarly to Reddit, and AI agents can join after a human shares a sign-up link. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 429 points, the S&P is down 31, and the NASDAQ is down 79 points. More self-driving vehicles are hitting the road.
Zoox is aiming to expand its reach in the robotaxi market, announcing a new partnership with Uber. Starting this summer, the company plans to allow rideshare customers in Las Vegas to hail a completely autonomous taxi. Zoox is a subsidiary of Amazon and is using a design that's built from the ground up to be a self-driving vehicle. That's unlike its competitor Waymo, which uses modified versions of existing cars. The two companies plan to expand their partnership to Los Angeles next year. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Interest rates have gone up for buying a home, but not for remodeling the exterior of your home. This week only at RGS Exteriors, it's our zero-interest financing sale. That's right, 0% interest on any gutters, siding, windows, or any exterior remodeling project on your home. We have programs for 12, 18, and 24 months, all with 0% financing. But the sale is this week only at RGS Exteriors. Want stunning James Hardy siding? 0%. Need to replace your windows? 0%. New gutters or gutter covers? 0%. How about a full extreme makeover? That's right, 0%. We've also been serving Utah for 5 generations, so you can trust us to do the job right. All work is backed by our exclusive 10-year everything guarantee for total peace of mind. And this week only, everything is available for 0% financing with approved credit. Don't put off your new exterior project any longer. As always, estimates are free, so call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com.
Join KSL News Radio's Amanda Dixon this Friday from 3 to 5 at the Salt Lake NPS store at 1600 Empire Road, npsstore.com.
All in together now, we can make it better, can we do it? We rope it up, because we know how to jump.
Moving and eating better every day can help make you and your kids healthier. Search We Can online to find out more. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
KSL News Time, 12:28. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by UCCU. Up to $500 for loan transfers. Love where you bank. Here's Cormac Bone.
We are still looking at a crash northbound I-215's west belt, blocking the right shoulder at the I-80 interchange. We don't see any delays behind them, but where we do have delays is on 123rd South in Draper. Traffic lights are malfunctioning. We do have traffic authorities helping in the intersections get traffic through, but delays are pretty heavy between 2nd East and then under the freeway all the way over to almost 3rd West, and we are seeing heavy delays getting off the freeway at 123rd South, both north and southbound from I-15. When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cyprus Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypruscu.com today. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mostly sunny skies today with a high of 54. That is right near the normal mark for the date. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow, breezy 67. We then hit 70 by Friday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now it's 43 degrees in Salt Lake City, 63 in St. George, and 43 in Provo.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time, 12:30. KSL's top story this hour is developing news. Police say the man shot and killed by an officer in Draper yesterday was driving with the suspect in a drug investigation. According to new arrest documents, Sean Shilaos was being monitored by detectives when he drove onto I-15 yesterday and was stopped by a Riverton officer. Police say Shilaos's unnamed passenger was armed and refused to give the gun to the officer. The dispute ended in the officer shooting the passenger, who died from his injuries. Shilaos was then taken into custody and was booked into jail for drug possession charges. Salt Lake City Mayor Erin Mendenhall says that this year's legislative session was one of the most productive she's ever seen. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff reports from outside Salt Lake City Hall.
Mayor Mendenhall says there will always be some differences between the needs and wants of the city and the legislature, but that she appreciates the relationships that have been fostered with state leadership.
I'd say the banner theme for me in this session is that we have good relationships with state leadership, and we have been able to get through this session where we are because they have worked with us more than they've worked against us.
The city was tracking 351 bills during the legislative session, including 53 high-priority bills. Some of those include a bill that affects property taxes, several transportation bills, a bill affecting water going into the Great Salt Lake, and a bill that increases the amount cities without homeless shelters have to pay into an account that funds those shelters. Reporting from outside Salt Lake City Hall, Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
This legislative session was a record breaker, but not in the way you'd expect.
The former record for highest percentage of nay votes by a lawmaker was Senator Nate Bluen in 2007, with a near 23% rate of voting no. Representative Leah Hansen from Saratoga Springs absolutely shattered the former record this year, voting no 54% of the time. That's about 446 votes for no over the 45-day session. Representative Leah Hansen from Saratoga Springs absolutely shattered this former record this year, voting no 54% of the time. That's 446 votes for no over the 45-day session. Representative Hansen told KSL she ran on a platform of firm beliefs about the role of government that she intended to keep. However, she also says she voted no on any of the bills she didn't read. Cameron Elliott, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories in Iran. The Pentagon says the U.S. executed the most intense day of airstrikes so far. ABC News chief foreign correspondent Ian Pinnell is in Tel Aviv with the latest on Israel's operations.
Concerns growing over the war's second major front, as Israel intensifies its attacks on Iranian-backed Hezbollah in Lebanon. Overnight, launching over a dozen strikes, including the capital. Our Matt Rivers is there.
A precision strike right in the residential heart of Beirut, wounding at least 4 people. You can see the damage down here on the street below as the Israeli military ramps up attacks, not only here in Beirut, but across the country.
ABC News reports that law enforcement in California has been sent a warning about Iranian drone attacks. According to this warning, the FBI has intercepted information about a surprise attack using drones from an unidentified vessel off the coast of California. The targets were not specified, and the FBI declined to comment. There was a security scare at the White House this morning when the Secret Service says a man drove into a security barrier.
The incident happened just before 6:30 in the morning in the northeast corner of the complex, about a block and a half north of the White House itself. The Secret Service says a man drove into a temporary security barrier that blocks traffic from continuing south into Lafayette Square. The D.C. Police Bomb Squad determined there were no explosives in the vehicle. The man was being interviewed by authorities who said criminal charges were pending.
ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy there. A man in Roy has been charged with manslaughter after police say he shot another man in the head while they were practicing drawing their handguns from holsters. According to police documents, officers arrived at the home of 24-year-old Benjamin Davis last Sunday to find him kneeling over the body, repeating that it was his fault. Investigators say security footage shows both men drawing their guns and pulling the trigger. Davis told police he thought the gun was not loaded. Powder Mountain is getting bigger. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports on the ski resort's new expansion plans.
The area has already been named Don't Mention It by locals and includes 1,000 acres of advanced and expert terrain with over 2,000 feet of vertical drop. Powder Mountain announced Tuesday the DMI lift will be opened this next ski season, and all of the terrain is located on the public side of the mountain. As part of a $40 million upgrade, they will also be replacing their sundown lift, adding a short lift to their beginner area, and building a new lodge.
The resort announced the price for youth season passes will be down next season, settling at about $250. First look traffic, here's Cormac Bone.
We have some heavier delays due to traffic light malfunctions on 123rd South on both sides of I-15 in Draper, but otherwise I-15 running clean and clear between Ogden and Provo. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
It's time for March Window Mania. From Advanced Window Products, bounce on over to your phone and they'll give you $2,500 off your quote on 10 windows or more. Get the home court advantage. They'll build your windows right here in Salt Lake City, custom for Utah's climate, and you save because they sell direct to the public, no middleman. It's a new season. Spring is here, and when it comes to state-of-the-art custom windows and insulated frames, Advanced Windows is top-seeded, so put them at the top of your bracket and make the call 801-850-9100. You'll get $2,500 off from the family-owned champion since 1986. For 40 years, they've been building and installing replacement windows. Don't wait for the draft to come seeping through your old windows. They'll save you a ton of money on your energy bill, and Advanced offers financing as low as $150 a month. It's the March Window Mania special. Quick, before the buzzer, make the call 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or visit advancedwindows.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you want to walk, play pickleball, and enjoy other fun activities to stay healthy, but you can't because of bad feet? Hi, this is Mike, and the Good Feet store wants to help.
I just had difficulty walking. I tried them on in the store, and my foot felt so much better.
Do you keep buying new shoes and inserts with little or no relief?
I tried all kinds of shoes. It was the arch supports that made the difference from the Good Feet store.
Don't let bad feet, knees, or back problems get in the way of staying healthy and having fun.
Thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm bowling 3 nights a week.
Get back to doing what you love. At the Good Feet store, we'll personally fit you at high-quality arch supports to maximize your comfort. Stop in the Good Feet store or book your free fitting at goodfeet.com. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Police say the man shot and killed by an officer in Draper yesterday was driving with the suspect in a drug investigation. KSL News Time is 12:37. A member of Utah's congressional delegation is still fighting to end the clock changes for daylight saving, but she says we might have to suffer through it for a little while longer. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
Utah Congresswoman Celeste Malloy tells me she's getting a ton of support as she pushes legislation to allow states to observe daylight saving time year-round instead of staying on standard time or switching the clocks twice a year.
There's not really a good justification for it anymore.
But she says the main reason it still hasn't gotten a committee hearing is because so many other things keep jumping it on the list of things to do. For example, she says while we're all trying to adjust to the time change right now, Congress needs to focus on other issues like the war in Iran and the midterm elections.
Malloy says she hopes Congress will take a look at her proposal this fall, and even if it takes a while, she's confident it'll become law. The Salt Lake City Council has voted to send over $8 million to affordable housing projects. The approved projects would build hundreds of housing units in Salt Lake, many of which would prioritize households earning under $37,000 a year. Community Reinvestment Agency project manager Brown Seabright says the funds come from several different sources.
So in total, we have about $8.1 million in funds available this year.
All approved funds, but $50,000 will go toward 4 different housing projects around the city. A hobby many parents remember from childhood is bringing families together again. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera reports trading cards are helping spark that connection.
For a lot of parents, collecting cards was something they did as kids. Now many are rediscovering the hobby with their own children. My third grader recently joined a Pokemon club at school, and weekends sometimes mean visiting local card shops, like family-owned Overtime Cards. Owner Chris James says the excitement of opening packs never really goes away.
You're opening up a pack to find that perfect card, that card that you're chasing, and then when it does happen, it is something special, the excitement that happens.
James says the hobby today might include things like grading and online sales, but the reason people keep coming back is much simpler: the memories it creates. From Sandy, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 12:39. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Here's Cormac Bone.
There is still a crash, I-215's westbound northbound at the I-80 interchange. There is a tow truck on scene, so hopefully we'll see them clear off the road soon. But again, there hasn't been any delays behind them the whole time they've been there. Where we do have those delays, though, it's due to that traffic light malfunction on 123rd South in Draper. Both east and westbound have scattered delays on either side of I-15, and getting off of I-15, either north or southbound at 123rd South, is very delayed. You've got some pretty heavy backups. It's not stretching back onto I-15, though. I-15 itself running clean and clear still through Utah and Salt Lake counties. Step aboard history, walk through recreations, see real artifacts, and feel the legacy of Titanic, the exhibition. Open now at the shops at Southtown and Sandy. Tickets at thetitanicexhibition.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Normal high for today is 54. Guess what the forecast is? 54. Mostly sunny skies. Tomorrow we warm up quickly. 67. Partly cloudy skies and a little bit breezy. 70 by Friday. Mostly sunny skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, it's 43 degrees in Ogden and 43 in Salt Lake City. Coming up, we'll talk to Utah Senator John Curtis, who's co-sponsoring a bill to address American spending and decrease the national debt. That's coming up.
Gear up for adventure at the Utah RV Super Show. Whether you're outfitting a new rig or upgrading your current setup, you'll find everything you need. Awnings, hitches, leveling systems, solar panels, camping gear, and more. Shop top brands and talk directly with experts who can help you hit the road in style. And explore the latest 2026 RV models all under one roof. The Utah RV Super Show takes over the Mountain America Expo Center Thursday, March 19th through Sunday, March 22nd. Learn more at UtahRVSupershow.com.
We'll admit, we've already thrown in the towel on the New Year's resolution.
Yeah, and we made it through dry January. But one healthy new habit we're sticking with is Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to help protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted ingredients like milk thistle basil, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Yup, more energy and the peace of mind knowing we can enjoy the good things in life while giving our liver the love it needs.
Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com. Or you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
Brought to you by Envision Utah.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, high blood pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1225. 800-777-1225 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. 800-777-1225.
Higher taxes, soaring inflation, record low interest rates, and the skyrocketing cost of healthcare. The list goes on. Retiring successfully today is a lot more complicated than ever before. Learn how you could tackle the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement today. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio. It's this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL, News Radio 1027.
KSL News Time, 12:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
the mayor of Salt Lake City is calling the 2026 legislative session one of the most productive sessions ever as far as the city's relationship with state lawmakers. I'm KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff.
Second, Spanish Fork officials say a brush fire that burned 11 acres yesterday is believed to be human-caused. Third, traffic and weather together.
Heavy delays getting off I-15 at 123rd South in Draper, both directions. And we do still have a crash, I-215's westbound northbound at the I-80 interchange. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
High stop in the 50s today with sunshine. Tomorrow we're back to 60s, maybe 70s by Friday. I'm Matt Johnson.
It is 43 degrees from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Now our top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In a warning to law enforcement reviewed by ABC News, the FBI warns it recently acquired information that Iran allegedly aspired to conduct a surprise attack using unmanned aerial vehicles or drones from an unidentified vessel off the coast of the U.S. to strike unspecified targets in California. It comes as the U.S. continues to carry out strikes on Iranian targets and the widening conflict leading to a surge in oil and gas prices. President Trump today in Kentucky and Ohio. Here's ABC's Selena Wang.
He's going to be delivering an economic message at a tricky time for him politically when these gas prices are surging, when there's been serious volatility in the energy markets. The president not providing a clear answer to the American people about how long this war is going to last for, how long Americans can expect to see those elevated prices.
The longtime accountant of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein being deposed today by the House Oversight Committee in its probe of Epstein. This is ABC News.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
KSL News Time is 12:47, and it's time for the KSL In-Depth. Utah Senator John Curtis is co-sponsoring a bill to address American spending and decrease the national debt. Senator Curtis joins me now live to tell us more about it. Good morning, Senator. Or afternoon, I guess. Would you explain what the Fiscal Commission Act would do? Senator, do I have you? All right. We'll take a quick break and we'll try again in a minute.
If I told you you could change your life in just 60 days, improve your health, feel better about how you look, would you bite? 60 days. That's the commitment you would need to make with Salt Lake City Fat Loss. This is an all-natural program. It has helped me lose more than 40 pounds. It's also less expensive than other programs because you don't have to buy all sorts of stuff like breakfast bars and things like that. For me, I wanted to go all-natural. And I just couldn't imagine spending $3,000 to $5,000 a year on GLP-1 injections for weight loss. Plus, you lose muscle, not fat, with a lot of those programs. With Salt Lake City Fat Loss, there's no injections, no synthetic hormones. Instead, real food to reset your metabolism and control hunger and help you burn fat, not muscle. You can find out more. Schedule a free 15-minute phone consultation. Find out more at slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com. Wouldn't it be great to keep that weight off for good? Go to slcfatloss.com.
All right, we're joined now live by Utah Senator John Curtis, who's co-sponsoring the Fiscal Commission Act. So, Senator, can you explain a little bit about what this would do?
Yeah, sorry. My team kept saying, unmute it. And I couldn't figure out what they were telling me. Sorry.
That's okay. So go ahead and tell us what it would do.
First of all, I'd like to be with you. You know, I think Utahns care probably more than anybody in the United States about our fiscal health. We're very good as a state with our money and managing it. We're good with our families and managing it. And the one place where we're just not good is here at the federal government. And I don't, look, you can look back and blame it on Republicans, you can blame it on Democrats, and probably be right in both cases. And so this is us saying very loudly, we need help, and we need to stop and focus on this. So we want to put together a commission and get serious about some suggestions about how we bend this curve and how we get back to a fiscally responsible house.
Okay. And there have been a lot of bills and reforms that have tried to decrease the national debt, but it just keeps going up. So what makes this legislation different?
You know, I told my team that's the first question everybody's going to ask, because we've tried over and over and over to do this. So first of all, I would say just because we've tried and failed doesn't mean we shouldn't keep trying. Second, we do have some unique things in this that I think will help it be different. One of those is it's done by Congress instead of the executive branch. That some of the attempts before have been the executive branch trying to do this. And if you don't get congressional buy-in, that's obviously not a good idea. And the third piece is it actually mandates that we vote on the commission's suggestions. So instead of just doing this and doing a report and having it filed away, we have to go on record as to whether or not we support their recommendations or not. And I'm hopeful that we'll get people to take this more seriously, and then it'll be very transparent whether or not your rep or your senator actually voted for it. I think that's an important piece of it.
All right. Thank you so much for explaining that to us. That was Utah Senator John Curtis joining us live on Midday. KSL News Time, 12:51. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by UCCU. Direct deposit gets you $300. Love where you bank. Here's Cormac Bone.
We are still seeing this crash, I-215's westbound northbound at the I-80 interchange. They are blocking that right shoulder, and it looks like they're getting that vehicle up onto the tow truck, so hopefully they'll get it cleared off sooner rather than later. Where we do have some heavier delays, it's 123rd South in Draper. Both directions seeing some scattered and heavy delays due to traffic light malfunctions. There are traffic authorities in place helping drivers get through, but it is slow and go. At UTA, they move your early mornings, your long days, your big plans. They move purpose, they move you. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. Bit of a roller coaster now through the weekend, then a major warm-up next week. 54 today, mostly sunny skies. We climb the hill to 67 tomorrow, partly cloudy and a little bit breezy for your Thursday. Friday, 70, mostly sunny skies. We'll drop again, 64, mostly cloudy on Saturday. Sunday, cool, 55 and mostly cloudy skies. Bouncing back quickly to 65 on your Monday. But how about Tuesday, 73? Next Wednesday, Thursday, could be in the upper 70s. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, it's 40 degrees in Logan and sunny and 43 in Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Calling all Jazz fans. If you can't wait another second to see stars like Ace Bailey and Lowry Markkanen tear up the court, you're in luck. Tickets are on sale now. Let's go! No matter what you're looking for, the Utah Jazz has your back. With season tickets, mini plans, and single game options available, there's something for everyone. Whatever your schedule or budget, there's a plan for every fan. Don't miss a moment of the action this season. Secure your tickets today at utahjazz.com.
Only one type of burger. For every pallet. Fries are extra. Large in size. We've got the shakes. Going over the brim.
Hey, this is Chris from JCW's. Put a positive, delicious spin on your day at any one of our 5 locations. In Lehigh, American Fork, Provo, South Jordan, or Harriman. JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
There's a disagreement brewing in Hawaii over something that's become a symbol of the state.
Flower garlands are synonymous with Hawaii, but the purple orchid lei you see around so many tourist necks are actually imported from Thailand. Some Hawaiian lawmakers are now calling on the Aloha State to do more to help local growers produce the fragrant flowers on their own. However, some lei sellers who have plenty of customers willing to pay wherever the flowers are grown are afraid doing that would jack up the price too much. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Watching Utah's money, economists are finding that bumping up minimum wage leads to companies using more robots. NPR reports that a 10% increase in minimum wage boosts robots adoption by about 8%. Oil prices have jumped 15%, with some jet fuel prices doubling since the start of the Iran war, leaving passengers with higher fares. Some airlines are rerouting to avoid the conflict in the Middle East, and thousands of passengers are trying to leave the region. Fabletics is launching its first denim collection, saying consumers want to dress up again, but with comfier options. The collection will launch online and in select stores tomorrow. Your money at this moment: the Dow is down 338 points, the S&P is down 15, and the NASDAQ is down 13. The usually barren landscape of California's Death Valley is blooming with life right now.
The hottest and driest place in the U.S. is currently putting on a very colorful show. Death Valley National Park is full of wildflowers. It's being caused by more rain than normal in the fall and early winter and mild temperatures. Carpets of gold now cover the usually brown, sandy area. Park officials say this year's super bloom is the best they've seen since 2016, thanks to steady rains and warm winter temperatures. Dave Packer, ABC News.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, Then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
KSL News Time, 12:58. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by UCCU. Up to $500 for loan transfers. Love where you bank. Here's Cormac Bone.
The crash we had on I-215's westbound northbound at the I-80 interchange has cleared off the road. Once again, a problem-free drive on I-215 no matter where you drive in the Salt Lake Valley. But we do still have those heavier delays in Draper on 123rd South. It seems those traffic light malfunctions creating some heavier backups, especially getting off the freeway on I-15 from 123rd South and Draper. You're going to see some slow-and-go traffic until you get on to 123rd South, and even then it's still delayed. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare and with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunny skies and a high of 54 today. Then we crank the heat up with 67 degrees and some clouds tomorrow, and then 70 on Friday. Mild weekend ahead, likely dry, and a high of 64 Saturday and 55 Sunday. Right now it's 45 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
With the legislative session now in the rearview mirror, what's the impact to residents of Salt Lake City? Today, Mayor Aaron Mendenhall praised lawmakers on Capitol Hill, saying improved relationships between the state and its largest city have improved immensely over the past several years.
And I can say, without a doubt, this is one of the most productive legislative sessions that we've had as far as our relationship goes with state legislators.
The time is 1 o'clock on Wednesday, March 11th. It's midday. I'm Heather Peterson. Maria Shilaos has the day off. Coming up, we'll go in depth on several of the bills passed by the state legislature and what that means for the future of Salt Lake City. Also this hour, 2.5 weeks into the war with Iran, we're hearing from Iranians to get their takes on the ongoing conflict.
Iran is not Afghanistan. Iran is not Iraq. Iran is not Venezuela, that its president overnight was captured by the U.S. forces.
More voices from Iran coming up at 1:30. But first, our top stories. We're learning new details about the officer-involved shooting that shut down southbound I-15 in Draper last night. Court documents say that Sean Shilaos was stopped by a Riverton officer on the highway yesterday evening when an armed, unnamed passenger in the vehicle wouldn't give his gun to the officers on scene. A dispute followed, and police say an officer shot the passenger, who later died from his injuries. Shilaos was booked on drug possession charges, and police haven't released the name of the man who died. We'll have more details on the investigation coming up here at 1:15 on Midday. Our top national story from ABC News. With the Strait of Hormuz closed to shipping traffic, the price of oil has been surging. But now 24 countries say the hundreds of millions of barrels of oil will be released into the market. More from ABC's Elizabeth Schulze.
This is
a move by the International Energy Agency's 32 member countries, which include the U.S. So they're saying they're going to put out 400 million barrels of oil into the global market as a way to boost supply, as we have seen this massive supply shock to the economy because of the war.
It's not clear how much oil will flow daily, but the hope is that releasing the emergency reserves will be a short-term solution to ease up on the strain that countries around the world have been feeling. Meantime, President Trump praised the U.S. military's performance in the war with Iran. The president told reporters outside Air Force One today that Iran's military has been gutted.
We have hit them harder than virtually any country in history has been hit, and we're not finished yet.
The president says he's pleased with the military's actions in the country so far. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 389 points, the S&P is down 20, and the NASDAQ is down 31 points. Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at UCCU.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
We are back to a crash-free commute on all the Valley freeways, but we still have lingering delays in Draper. It could be both directions of 123rd South due to traffic lights malfunctioning between 3rd West and about 200 East. We do have officers in place directing you through that area, but anticipate delays. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
No rain expected the next couple days, but some stair-stepping warmth. We're expecting a high of 54 today, 67 tomorrow with some clouds, and 70 degrees by Friday. Right now it's sunny and 45 degrees from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Hey guys, it's Hans Olsen here talking with Mint Medical Clinic about ED. Bailey, I've heard you guys have a unique approach to ED. Could you tell us more about that?
Yes, of course. The trifecta is our most comprehensive treatment. It combines 3 therapies into one program: acoustic wave therapy for blood flow, GLP-1 peptide therapy for weight loss, and hormone therapy to rebalance the whole system. Most clinics treat just one piece of the puzzle. We treat the whole system simultaneously. That's how you get results that no single treatment can deliver on its own.
I know you've got an incredible offer for our listeners. Tell us what's going on.
We do, and this one is big. For our listeners, we're offering a completely free consultation plus a free blood flow ultrasound. That's a $650 value at no cost. On top of that, everyone who comes in gets a free intimacy kit to take home. And here's the kicker. Is for the next 20 callers who sign up for a treatment program, we're throwing in a free 5-night luxury hotel stay in Hawaii. That's right, 5 nights in Hawaii on us. So don't wait on this one. Pick up the phone right now and call 801-804-8000. That's 801-804-8000.
Greater Zion, no greater feeling. At Southern Utah's Copper Rock Golf Course, we embrace that feeling. Here, every swing is surrounded by breathtaking landscapes and world-class amenities, providing that perfect pairing of golf and unforgettable outdoor experiences. Come for the golf, stay for the adventure. Copper Rock, born to be played.
Hello, this is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. Take the first step. Visit CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com.
Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson, sitting in for Maria Shilaos. Salt Lake City leaders responding today to hundreds of bills from the legislative session. Mayor Aaron Mendenhall saying the city tracked 351 bills this session, roughly 1/3 of all bills introduced. In many cases, the mayor says the city worked with outside groups and lawmakers for quite some time before the session to ensure the best possible outcome for Salt Lakers. While they weren't able to get everything they wanted, the mayor says she's pleased with the overall outcome of the session and what it means for city residents.
Some bills required months of negotiating leading up to the session to bring them to a place that would best serve our residents. And I can say, without a doubt, this is one of the most productive legislative sessions that we've had as far as our relationship goes with state legislators.
She thanked state leaders, most of whom are Republican, for committing to work with the city rather than against the city. She credits these relationships for much of the success this legislative session.
It's taken years for us to foster these relationships because many of them failed to previously exist. I'm confident that Salt Lakers are better today because of those relationships that we've forged, and I appreciate the legislature recognizing the importance of local government in our state. There are, of course, sometimes differences, major differences, between Salt Lake City and the legislature, but we are always going to stay at the table, and I'm committed to working with our partners on Capitol Hill to always bring about the best potential outcomes we can for Salt Lakers.
Many of the bills city leaders tracked this session dealt with tax reform, economic development, transportation, public safety and homelessness, energy and water, and immigration. Legislative Affairs Director for the city, Angela Price, echoed the mayor's praise of the session, saying it was one of the best sessions for the city. She credits much of the success not only to the relationships that have been forged over the years, but also to the fact that so many bills introduced this year didn't pass.
This was more a session of what didn't pass, and I think there was a lot of bills that were held in rules or that moved through one chamber and didn't move through the other that would have had really profound impacts on Salt Lakers. And so we're grateful that leadership really focused on sound policy this year during the legislative session that, addressed statewide issues and didn't focus specifically on Salt Lake or specific areas.
So of the more than 350 bills city leaders were watching, what exactly happened? Joining me now live on Midday is KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff, who attended the meeting with the mayor this morning. Welcome to the show, Don.
Hey, thanks, Heather.
So let's start with homelessness. What did city leaders have to say about bills passed that address homelessness and public safety?
Heather, Mayor Mendenhall is actually very happy with a bill that will adjust the amounts that cities without shelters have to pay into a fund that pays for those shelters.
I think that the current mitigation formula needs to change. I'm grateful that the League has worked with other cities and the state to come up with this interim task force approach of reconsidering what the formula looks like. Frankly, the way it sits prior to the legislation that passed, it is a bargain for cities who do not have a shelter to pay such a minimal amount to not participate. The costs of cities who do host services are escalating with inflation and the fact that most of the money that we spend goes to the salaries of city employees who are doing this work. And that, as you know, across the economic spectrum is rising. So it's appropriate that the formula changes. I expect all cities to need to invest more, but Salt Lake City's investment has for a long time been exponentially greater than others.
And city leaders said they were also watching a few economic bills like tax reform, including House Bill 236. Don, what did leaders say about this?
City leaders are happy with where this bill ended up because of the way things are now. It's made it incredibly difficult for the city to get their budgets approved in time.
If you think about the timeline, my birthday's June 8th. I know that's usually when we get our revenue numbers from the state. And sometimes I have a good birthday and sometimes I don't. But we also have to finalize the city budget by state statute by about June 18th. So by then, and sometimes by June 8th even, our city council's already basically worked out the budget. So as Angela is saying, I don't think it's the fault of any of the cities. It's the timeline of the state collecting the revenue and distributing those numbers out to municipalities, coupled with their own requirement of when we finalize the budget, that it does feel like you're putting the cart way after the horse to do truth and taxation about 90 days after the budget is finalized.
So how about local control? There were bills targeting Salt Lake City streets and renaming some streets, following up on the flag bill from last year. What did the mayor have to say about those?
One of the things that city leaders were opposed to, specifically with roads, was a bill that would have given the state control over the naming of city streets.
It was a long and winding road, but it ended in a much better place than where we sat at the end of the 2025 session. It removed all of the provisions from SB 195 and solidified, codified some of the important parts that I think are going to be really functional for us with UDOT. You know that we have now 4 tiers of roadways in the city. It expanded the study area west to Redwood Road, which was previously west border at I-15. And it gives us clarity as a city on which roads are of importance to them. It doesn't require us to remove bike lanes. It requires us to analyze those impacts. And then we can make decisions after we do that. And I think it gives us the clarity that we've wanted, because a legislative approach that feels retaliatory to a city is not security.
All right, that was Mayor Aaron Mendenhall's thoughts on the city's tracked 351 bills this last session. KSL News Radio's John Brinkhoff, thank you so much for joining us today to break that all down.
Thanks, Heather.
All right. And in just 60 seconds, we'll get the latest on that officer-involved shooting that shut down I-15 in Draper for several hours last night. One person is now dead. Updates in just a moment.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother. A necklace tucked away in a drawer. Pieces full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jeweler specializes in reimagining family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Duke's on-site jewelers and designers work with you one-on-one to honor the original story while creating something fresh, modern, and uniquely yours. From resetting diamonds into new engagement rings to transforming multiple heirloom pieces into one stunning design, every project is crafted with care, precision, and intention. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers on Main Street in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com. Duke's Jewelers, where old stories become new treasures. dukesjewelers.com.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
We're continuing to follow developing news here on KSL News Radio. The man who was shot by police yesterday on I-15 has now died. Thousands of Utahns experienced chaos on the roads last night in the southern part of the Salt Lake Valley due to this officer-involved shooting. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera was there as the situation was breaking and has been looking through police documents today. So, Eric, walk us through what happened.
Absolutely, Heather. So it really was a tough evening for drivers in the area. Investigators shut down basically southbound I-15 at Bangerter Highway after we got word of an officer-involved shooting. I actually live nearby on the edge of Sandy and Draper and drove down to the scene as close as I could get. And what normally takes just a few minutes to get around on side streets actually took me more than a half an hour just to get anywhere near it. That's how bad traffic was backed up, right? For everyone trying to get around that closure. We even caught word that first responders on the way got caught up in the traffic, had a hard time getting there because it was during the big rush home.
Oh, man. And now we're learning actually what was going on during that time and what led up to the shooting. So what do you know about that?
Exactly. So, new court documents we've been going through here at the office are helping fill in some of those gaps, right? So investigators say police were actually watching a home in Riverton as part of a narcotics investigation when they saw a man named Sean Shilaos leave in a red Cadillac with another man. Then at some point during that surveillance, a Riverton police officer pulled the car over on I-15 in Draper.
And then so what happened during that traffic stop?
Right. So according to police, they say officers noticed the passenger had a handgun on him. And when they asked him to hand it over, he refused and started an altercation with officers outside the car. During that confrontation, investigators say an officer fired their weapon, hitting that passenger. Then he was airlifted to a hospital nearby in critical condition. But as we heard a couple hours ago, police say he later died from his injuries, and authorities still haven't released his name while they notify family members.
So what about the driver of the car then?
Right. So investigators say the driver was 47-year-old Sean Michael Shilaos. He was detained after that incident, and police say when officers searched him, they actually found a small bag with a white powder that tested positive for cocaine. Court documents say he later admitted to that, and he's now been booked in the Salt Lake County Jail on drug possession charge.
Okay, and so what happens next in the investigation?
So the officer involved has been placed on administrative leave, which is standard in situations like this. We've seen that happen at every officer-involved shooting. And the shooting itself is now being reviewed by Utah's Officer-Involved Critical Incident Protocol Team, which is basically a multi-agency group that investigates police shootings across the state.
All right, KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera, thank you for joining me live in studio. We'll continue to dig into this story and bring you the latest updates on air and online at kslnewsradio.com. Has daylight saving hit you like a ton of bricks? Me too. After the break, we'll hear from Representative Celeste Malloy on what she's doing to stop us from changing the clocks again. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio, brought to you by UCCU. Direct deposit gets you $300. Love where you bank. Ricky?
We do have an accident 9th West, north of 2100 South. If you're traveling the Salt Lake County freeways, you're good to go. But in Draper, traffic lights are out, and we're seeing delays both directions of 123rd South between 3rd West and 200 East. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
You know how they always used to ask you in grade school, what do you want to be when you grow up? I bet I'm the only kid who ever stood proud and said, I want to be a rain gutter or siding installer. Jim Jr. here with RGS Exteriors, and man, I can still remember all those wannabe astronauts and quarterbacks looking at me like I was an idiot. Who would want to install rain gutters or siding? Somebody who is a fourth generation in business. That's who. My great-grandfather, T.R. Brown, started the company in the 50s. Then my grandfather took over from him, then my dad, Tim Sr., and now I've been at the helm since 2005. Every day I wake up and think, man, I'm living the dream. And now my own kids are starting to work in the business too. 5 generations. If you want gutters, siding, windows, or any exteriors on your home, and a company that really cares deep down to our souls, give RGS a call. 801-280-3110 or find us online, rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com. 801-280-3110, rgsutah.com.
Are your investments in the right accounts? What's best, traditional or Roth? Are you receiving all available tax deductions? Are you paying as little in tax as you can? These are all questions you can't afford to get wrong. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth, and in many cases, it's not what you make, but it's what you keep that makes the real difference. Trajan Wealth and Trajan Tax work closely together exclusively. No more guessing about whether you should do a Roth conversion, or if maxing out your 401k is really the best option. Our nationally recognized fiduciary advisors and CPA team work in tandem to make sure your tax strategy works with your investment strategy. We'll even do your tax preparation. One team, one strategy. Isn't it time for a second opinion? Call Trajan today. 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
Amanda, I've got a cruise planned in a couple of months, and I was thinking about the other people who may have cruises planned coming up a few months from now, and why right now would be the best time for them to begin their weight loss journey on Soda Weight Loss.
If you started right now, you could lose 20, 30, 40 pounds before June.
That's right.
I lost 37 pounds in 3 months, 3.5 years ago. And the beauty about soda is it's not a quick fix. This is learning that is going to last you the rest of your life and help you be healthy.
Your clothes fit better. Your energy comes back. You don't get winded going upstairs.
Yeah.
Things that maybe you don't even realize. When I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, it felt like a transformation.
You learn what works for your body so you don't get addicted to shots or drugs drugs. You just work with a nutritionist who's going to teach you how to keep the weight off for a lifetime.
Right now, you should go check out sodaweightloss.com, see all the thousands of before and after pictures, or speak with a nutritionist by giving a call 866-800-SODA.
Soda Weight Loss. Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait, and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson. Maria Shilaos is off today. If you're like me, you're probably still feeling the effects of losing an hour of sleep over the weekend. The dread surrounding daylight saving time is a controversial topic that has lawmakers wonder twice a year, why are we still doing this? This year's no different. Utah Congresswoman Celeste Malloy has reintroduced the Daylight Act, which would allow states to choose whether they want to stop changing the clocks and just stick with daylight saving time year-round. But she thinks with everything going on in Congress right now, it likely won't get the time of day just yet.
People only care in the fall and in the spring, and then they forget about it once they adjust to whichever time we're in. But it's a really emotional issue. It's funny, of all the things we work on in Congress that are really important and have to do with, life and property, the future of the country, that changing the clocks is one people have very strong feelings for and against. Most people I talk to really don't want to change the clocks. They're very emotional about the idea that we should just be on the same time zone all the time. And there are some people who are concerned. The ski industry worries about, getting people out and grooming slopes really, really early in the morning if it's daylight savings time all winter long. And there are some groups that don't like the idea of having daylight savings in the winter, but mostly people just don't want to have to change the clocks. There's not really a good justification for it anymore. When you ask people why we change the clocks, most people just shrug. They don't have any idea. It's the issue is getting it to the top of the stack when there are so many other things that we have to deal with in Congress. But it is, like I say, the idea has passed the Senate once. The difference is the one that passed the Senate would have required states to make this change. Ours allows states to make the change. And I know there's some concern that if states get to choose, there'll be kind of a hodgepodge all over the country of time zones. But the states have been smart and forward-looking on this. And Utah is one of the majority of states that has passed a bill that says we'll adopt it when a certain number of our neighboring states also adopt it.
Malloy told KSL News Radio's Adam Small that over the years, a lot of interesting statistics have come out about what happens when we change the clocks.
There are more car accidents in the week after the time change. There are more behavioral problems with children after we change the clocks. Pets and kids don't really change their clocks. They wake up when their bodies tell them to wake up, even though it's a different time on the clock. And so there's, in that time when people are adjusting, there's a lot of lost productivity at work, and the sort of distracted driving accidents that you would expect from people who are tired.
And like Malloy mentioned, Utah's already passed a law that would make daylight saving time permanent, but the law can't go into effect until Congress changes the federal statute. 18 other states have passed similar laws. Malloy says that while she hopes this bill will get taken up sooner than later, between Iran, budgets, and midterms on the minds of America's Congress members right now, this likely will be held for a little while, or at least until the next time people complain about changing the clocks again. The Utah Mammoth has signed forward Nick Schmaltz to an 8-year contract extension. I spoke with KSL Mammoth insider Cole Bagley to find out more about Schmaltz and what he continues to bring to the team.
Yeah, so Schmaltz is one of the veteran forwards for the Utah Mammoth. I believe he's 29, turning 30. And he has been just a critical piece for Utah as they begin to emerge from a rebuild. He's, Clayton Keller's partner in crime on that top line. And so bringing him back was, a big key for them as they, try to make the playoffs this season and beyond.
Right. Okay, so the contract was for $8 million a year. Is that pretty typical for a player like Schmaltz in the NHL?
Yeah, with the contract, with the cap continuing to rise over the next couple of years, getting a guy like Schmaltz who's playing top line minutes, who's playing on the power play, the power kill, and again, who is just so, he's the perfect complementary player to the captain, Clayton Keller. To get him an $8 million AAV for the next 8 seasons is a good deal. It solidifies their top 6. It keeps them competitive. And, a lot of people might, kind of raise their eyebrow a little bit at the term, given his age. It is 8 years, so it will see him through his, 38th birthday, I believe. But in order to keep him around and to keep that average annual salary lower, they had to give a longer term, which Utah was in a good spot to do. And, there's certain parts of this contract that will allow Utah to move Schmaltz, if need be, before that contract reaches its full term.
Okay. And the Mammoth announced an 8-year contract with Logan Cooley last year. Is there anyone else we expect to stick around?
Utah's in an interesting place in terms of, where they're at in their rebuild, right? Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to become relevant. They're trying to make the playoffs, but at the same time, they're trying to buy time for their young prospects. They're TJ Gimla, Caleb Denoyer, Cole Baudouin, Daniil Boot, Dmitry Simashev. And so it's an interesting kind of in-between phase. They're going to have some contracts come off the books going into this summer, which will open roster spots for some of these younger players to potentially make. But, Schmaltz becomes, I believe, the 7th player to sign more than a 4-year extension with Utah. The likes of Dylan Gunther and Logan Cooley and several others, Jack McBain, which really signals how much players not only have enjoyed being in Utah, but the fact that they want to stay here long term.
That's KSL Mammoth insider Cole Bagley. It's 1:30, midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Heather Peterson. Maria Shilaos has the day off. Some of the stories we're watching this hour: voices from Iran rising out of the ongoing conflict. We'll hear from people living in the country amidst the war. And spring is approaching soon. We're looking at nearly 80 degrees next week, and biologists are hustling to get a pulse on the state's bear population. And KSL traffic.
We do have I-15 on-ramps closed in Draper at 123rd South. Heather?
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Ahead of traveling to Ohio and Kentucky, President Trump spoke to reporters and says he's pleased with the U.S. military strikes on Iran, but declined to talk about regime change following strikes that killed the Ayatollah.
Can you declare victory in this war if the supreme leader remains the Ayatollah's son? I don't want to comment on that.
ABC News has learned law enforcement in western states were recently warned that Iran aspires to retaliate for American attacks by launching offensive drones against California. Law enforcement says there are currently no credible threats. Iran still able to launch attacks on Gulf and Arab states and is keeping a chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz, a key transport artery for 20% of global oil. The International Energy Agency today announcing plans to earmark 400 million barrels of oil to help blunt rising oil prices. Senate Republicans blocked an effort by Democrats today to pass a spending bill that would fund all agencies covered by DHS except for for ICE. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. One Utah lawmaker made legislative history this year by how often she voted no. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott reports.
Representative Leah Hansen from Saratoga Springs voted no 446 times during the 2026 legislative session. The former record was set in 2007 by Senator Nate Bluen when he voted no on 22% of bills. Representative Hansen, 54%. In a statement to KSL, Representative Hansen says she was committed to making sure the role of government was kept in check. However, she also said, quote, "I still didn't get to all the bills that came through, so I voted no because I hadn't read them."
Hansen voted no on matters including funding to the Great Salt Lake. Other local stories KSL is following. Powder Mountain has announced 1,000 acres of expert terrain will be available this next season with the opening of a new lift.
Known as Don't Mention It, the new terrain covers around 1,000 acres on the Wolf Creek Canyon side of Powder Mountain. The terrain is all advanced and expert rated and will be open to the public. The DMI lift and terrain expansion was first announced in 2024, and skiers have been looking forward to access since then. DMI is part of the resort's $40 million plan to expand and upgrade their services. Powder Mountain will also be working on a new Sundown Base Area Lodge that's planned to open for the 2027-28 season and will update the Sundown lift. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 383 points, the S&P is down 22, and the NASDAQ is down 37 points. Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
Salt Lake County freeways seeing a quiet drive, but if you're trying to get to I-15, either east or westbound directions, the on-ramps in Draper at 123rd South are blocked due to traffic light issues. Whipple Service Champions is Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services, and they're your first choice for offering honest second opinions. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunny skies and a high of 54 today. Then we crank up the heat with 67 degrees and some clouds tomorrow and 70 degrees on Friday. Then a mild weekend ahead, likely dry with a high of 64 Saturday and 55 Sunday. Right now, it's sunny and 46 degrees from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
445,000 Utahns, including 1 in 5 Utah kids, face hunger. Join Utah Food Bank and Associated Food Stores for the Feed Utah Food Drive, March 7th through 14th, to donate non-perishable food while you shop at any participating Associated Food Store. Or organize your own food drive and drop off donations at your local store. Every donation stays right here to help local families move from hunger to hope. Donate and learn at utahfoodbank.org/feedutah.
Let's retrofit and renovate old buildings before it's too late. 45 wire pipes and power lines to keep things flowing and get back online. BIGONE. Let's work together to get ready. We don't have to be scared. Visit earthquakes.utah.gov to prepare.
Brought to you by Envision Utah.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson. Since the start of the conflict between the U.S. and Israel and Iran, we've heard a lot of opinions from Americans in the news about what should be done in the Middle East. But what do those who live in Iran think? And what's it been like for them on the ground with attacks and explosions happening every day? ABC's Desiree Abib has been talking to Iranians about what they've been experiencing since the start of this conflict.
So it's been quite a little bit of an evolution, I would say. The first day was shocking to people.
It's very, very strange feeling.
I got a voice note from one of my contacts, Layla, and she described, being happy and ecstatic that the bombs were starting because she thought this was going to take out the regime and cause change.
We celebrated, we drink, and we have parties in our houses.
We also heard from a woman named Taranj.
Saturday morning, it was around 9:30 a.m. I was getting ready to go out. I heard the aircraft.
And she talked about hearing the loud noises and then eventually, celebrating.
And everybody was shouting, "Death to Khamenei," and we were so happy.
And then there was Amin, who was really upset that this was happening and thought it was horrific.
We can see that people are gathering in the squares of the Tehran, commemorating the martyrdom of their leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, that was assassinated by the United States.
And couldn't believe that bombs were raining down on his country and that they took out the leader that he supported.
Show the arrogant forces of the world that we are standing against you.
There's a lot of anxiety, I would say. The mood is sort of anxious and also worry.
We hear the attacks like every 3 or 4 hours.
If you go outside, you will face IRGC forces.
And then there's some people that are happy. So it's a wide variety of viewpoints.
But Adib says many people would be surprised to know that amid all the bombings and attacks, Iranians are trying their best to continue on with their lives.
The day-to-day life is continuing in a surreal and yet normal way inside of Tehran. The subways are running. The grocery stores are still open. Schools are not shut down. People are trying to live their lives. One of my sources said, Iranian Uber is still running.
We have an Iranian version of Uber. We have an Iranian version of Amazon, and they're all working here, and people are doing their life, and the banking system is open.
And yet, in the middle of the night, their windows are shaking, and giant bombs are falling on the outskirts of the city, or even sometimes the center of the city. And I just can't imagine living under those circumstances. It's shocking.
She says there's a wide range of opinions from those living in Iran.
Iranians are not a monolith. There's quite a diversity of viewpoints in that country, and it's something that we're encountering as we interview these people. There's the hardliner viewpoint. There's pro-regime, the one that is really, was really into the Ayatollah Khamenei's rule.
Always the United States, always the enemies of the country have had miscalculations about its people.
That viewpoint was actually very well exhibited by Amin.
Iran is not Afghanistan. Iran is not Iraq. Iran is not a country like Venezuela that its president overnight was captured by the U.S. forces.
And then on the other side, there is the anti-regime protester. And this viewpoint was well exhibited by Layla.
We are all together against this cancer, against this evil regime.
Layla is a real anti-regime. She is celebrating and she is begging for Reza Pahlavi, the former son of the Shah of Iran, to come in and take over. And she says...
Oh, she's like, the whole U.S. thing, sounds great. That's exactly what we would want.
Yeah, she says, we want you to come and save us.
We're all waiting for the green hats, the special forces of America.
She says we're begging for Trump to come in and save us. And when the bombs stop is when she feels anxious. Another viewpoint that I came across was sort of the middle of the road take.
We have witnessed a situation that we have never experienced before.
This comes through Omid and another guy called Darius.
I'm not sure how we will get out of this because, as far as I can understand, there is no objective in this war. It's just like devastation.
And both of those guys really, they are not into the Islamic regime. They do not support the regime, but they were really upset and horrified at the U.S. government and the Israeli campaign.
That was ABC's Desiree Adib talking to the Start Here podcast about Iranians' opinions and experiences since the beginning of the conflict. We're going to take a 60-second break, and when we return, we'll get an update on the closure of the Strait of Hormuz and how it's continuing to affect oil prices. Stay with us.
Buying a home or refinancing can be complicated. So who do you call? Who's trustworthy, has decades of experience, and can get you a loan done quickly? Who will work hard for you to find the great rate and reasonable closing costs? The answer's clear. Loans by Rick. Right now, Loans by Rick is giving a 30-year fixed rate at 5.5% and a 15-year fixed at just 4.625%.
He can't do that.
Oh, yes, he can. For over 25 years, Rick has helped people navigate the mortgage process and get the financing they need to buy a home or refinance. That even includes paying off debt with a cash-out refi. And because Loans by Rick works with over 80 bank and lending relationships, we shop multiple lenders to find you the very best deal. Whether you're buying a home or refinancing, call Loans by Rick at 801-809-SAVE. That's 801-809-SAVE, or visit loansbyrick.com. Rick Jamal, NMLS 241179, Vintage Lending, NMLS 287106, Equal Housing Lender, 30-year APR 5.78%, 15-year APR 4.78%. Some restrictions apply.
As the war with Iran continues, concerns about rising oil prices are intensifying. It's getting even worse, especially with reports of Iran laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz, a key waterway for transporting 1/5 of the world's oil. News Nation's Trevor Shirley reports.
The U.S. military says it eliminated 16 Iranian mine layers as it tries to head off a major threat to global oil exports. News of potential Iranian mines in the Strait of Hormuz comes as Iran launched new attacks on neighboring Gulf countries. U.S. officials saying the U.S. military destroyed more than a dozen Iranian mine layers.
We're winning decisively with brutal efficiency, total air dominance, and an unbreakable will to accomplish the president's objectives.
The Pentagon says Iran's missile launchers are nearly wiped out, but there's still no clear timeline for an end to the fighting. The White House says the U.S. is close to achieving its objectives.
Destroy the terrorist regime's ballistic missiles, raise their Iranian missile industry to the ground, ensure their terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region, and ensure that Iran never obtains a nuclear weapon.
Congress this week got more classified briefings, and lawmakers remain divided.
I am left with more questions than answers, especially about the cost of the war.
This is an important mission to accomplish, and hopefully it'll be accomplished soon.
Democrats say the administration has still given no clear answers about a timeline or long-term goals, as the situation could get even worse should the Strait of Hormuz become impassable for oil freighters.
It is concerning, it is disturbing, and I'm not sure what the end game is or what their plans are. They certainly have not made their case.
Earlier this week, President Trump said the U.S. is close to finishing the war, while at the same time promising even more intense bombing campaigns. Reporting in Washington, I'm Trevor Shirley.
With the Strait of Hormuz closed, prices at the pump continue to skyrocket, with gas prices hitting their highest level in more than 18 months. And for those with bigger tanks and those who use diesel fuel, like truck drivers, the price jump has been having an even larger impact. But Executive Director of the Utah Trucking Association, Rick Claspy, says it doesn't only affect them at the pump. He says that those fuel prices trickle down to affect everything they transfer and transport throughout the state.
Freight rates obviously impact the cost of goods, and so it will impact everything from milk and cheese to manufactured product.
This means that costs go up for the contractors and the consumers, too.
I mean, obviously, the ideal would be to keep operational costs as low as possible so that we can offer service and make sure that freight is delivered in a timely and efficient way. So stability is important to us. Efficiency is important to us. And the best way to do that is to have stable and predictable prices.
Claspy tells me that this added stress doesn't change the fact that drivers are doing what they can to help the community.
It wouldn't change the desire to haul freight. We know that that's necessary for Utah and the national economy, and so we're always going to be interested in transporting freight. It just would make it to where we need to adjust prices and adjust rates. This is a profession where trucking companies work hard to provide the best service they possibly can in a safe and efficient manner, and those drivers out there are delivering in Utah to 80% of the communities exclusively by truck. So it's important to us that we do that right, that we do it in a fair and honest way, and of course make sure that we're doing it safely.
That was the executive director of the Utah Trucking Association, Rick Claspy. As the weather warms and spring creeps in, wildlife officials are going den to den, checking on Utah's black bear population. More on that next, but first it's traffic on KSL News Radio. Brought to you by UCCU, up to $500 for loan transfers. Love where you bank. Ricky?
We do have an accident reported 9th South at about 3300 West Gladiola Street. They've opened up the ramps, the on-ramps once again at 123rd South to I-15, and we're seeing a good drive on all the Salt Lake County freeways. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced health care in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you spend half your day walking or standing while working? If you have foot, knee, or back problems, the Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Tony.
Pain that I experience the most is foot pain from being on my feet all day. You're having to kind of talk to yourself through the whole shift, like, I got this, I can do this. Before, I felt defeated, and now it's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. A whole new life, like sunshine coming on.
And how about working more comfortably, like Dennis?
Working at an amusement park, it's always on your feet. I just couldn't take it, but I didn't have a choice. I just couldn't believe that putting these arch supports in made that much of a difference that quickly. I could do my job and I could take care of my family. I know what my tomorrow's gonna be. It's gonna be positive.
You deserve a better life too. Stop in the Good Feet store today. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Looking for something fun to do in Utah? Head to ksl.com/win and enter our weekly contest for your chance to score some amazing prizes. This week, you could win tickets to see Jenny Oaks Baker live. Experience Ballet West, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Enjoy a night with the Utah Symphony. Or step into history at Titanic, the exhibition. It's quick, it's free, and you could be our next big winner. Don't miss out. Enter now at ksl.com/win.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Did you know your baby might need their first dental visit sooner than you think? Did you know your baby should visit the dentist after their first tooth appears or by their first birthday? Keep your family healthy. Your smile matters. Babies can get cavities as soon as they have teeth. Bad bacteria can be transferred to a baby's mouth through unwashed spoons or pacifiers. Pacifiers dipped in sugar or sweetened drinks can also cause cavities. Prevention begins by using a small, soft toothbrush and a little fluoride toothpaste. Grain of rice size ages 1 to 2 and a pea size ages 3 to 6. Practice with your baby before their first dental exam. A dental professional can give you the best advice to keep your baby healthy and smiling. If you don't have a dentist, visit yoursmileutah.org for more information on community dental services. This message brought to you by Utah Oral Health Coalition, Utah Dental Association, University of Utah School of Dentistry, the Utah Department of Health and Human Services, and other Utah health partners. Remember, a healthy smile means a healthier life.
Your smile matters.
It all started with a commitment to comfort. Gillette Heating and Air is proud to be Utah County's go-to team for expert HVAC and plumbing solutions. Need a repair, upgrade, or seasonal tune-up? Don't let cost hold you back. With 0% financing available, it's easy to get the work done now and pay later. Plus, save $100 on any repair over $500 and keep your system running strong with a professional tune-up before the heat hits. Visit GilletteHVAC.com or call 385-GET-COOL to book today. Homegrown service pros, financing made simple, comfort made easy.
Carrier, turn to the experts. A Carrier factory authorized dealer.
Step into a world where the music swells, your pulse quickens, and pure emotion takes over. Experience the Utah Symphony's Masterworks concerts, thrilling, elegant evenings at Marisa Bravanel Hall. Feel the romance of Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2, the joy of Respighi's The Pines of Rome, and the spine-tingling drama as orchestra and chorus unite for the electrifying masterpiece Carmina Burana. Hear it live, feel it live. Tickets start at $26 at utahsymphony.org.
This is Midday. I'm Heather Peterson, in for Maria Shilaos. With spring soon approaching, now is the time biologists are trying to get a pulse on the state's bear population. Over the next couple weeks, experts with the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources are going into black bear dens to count up how many we've got and what that says about the living conditions for wildlife in Utah right now. I spoke with Randall Thacker, a wildlife biologist with DWR. He says when mama bears are healthy and have enough fat stored, they'll have babies every other year. But if we've been in a drought year and they didn't get enough to eat, their bodies will absorb the fertilized eggs.
Why we monitor it is to look at these production pulses, because when we get really several years in a row of droughts, we don't get much bear production. And then when we get good weather conditions, and which leads to good vegetation and healthier situation for mom, she gets acorns or whatever it is she can find, and or berry crops and those kind of things. She then gets healthier, and so she'll have give birth. And there's some years we'll have almost like all the bears we monitor will have cubs and have twins, and it's just a good productive year. And then there's other years we'll have all the bears that we monitor that have almost no cubs. And so we want to know when those big pulses of new babies are hitting the ground. They help us manage the bear population and give us an estimate of our population estimates that we try to come up with. And otherwise, bears are tough to get a lot of information on. They're very secretive. Bears are very nocturnal for the most part. They only really do a lot of things at night, or if not, they're very, very secretive. They have an amazing nose. They can smell people coming or whatever for miles away, and they're very secretive and like to hide. So we getting much information on bears, like a population count or other trend counts, is really, really hard.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is kind of try to do our best to get an estimate of how much kind of trends is the population increasing or decreasing. And so by getting a little bit of information on their production and also their survival the second year, often we'll go back to the den the next year when there's the yearling cubs in there. And a lot of time we can just set up trail cameras now. Before we used to have to go, bother her again, look in the den and see what she has and that kind of stuff. And that's hard to do in some dens. It's hard to tell what's in there. So, but now with the advent of trail cameras on that yearling year, the second year, if we get there and she has yearling cubs, we'll simply set up the trail cameras on the entrance to the den, and we can see how many come out. And that gives us an estimate, an idea then of what percentage of the sows had cubs and how many of them lived and that kind of thing.
And they do these checks while the bears are hibernating, so they're groggy and not bothered by the visits, but they do sedate the moms to do further medical checks. I asked him if the bears' hibernation schedule has been impacted by the weather.
The females with cubs that are going to have cubs, have a birth and stuff, they're pretty habitual at going in within a week or two of the same time as what we found on the females. Now, the males, though, the boars, they can really vary. They're not worried about giving birth, I guess, or coming out of the den much. They don't care when. So when they try to, they will hang out outside the den, stay outside of the den a little longer. when it's a mild fall, it's very warm and dry. It's more of a temperature thing, I think, and that kind of stuff. There's still the instinct kicks in to go to the den so they get ready for it, but they don't. They will be out and move quite a bit later some years. If it's a really late, warm fall, they will go into the den as soon, and then the boars will come out of the den earlier if it's a mild spring like it seems to be this year.
Okay.
I fully expect to have some come out earlier than that. The females will usually stay in, especially if they have cubs. If they have cubs, they will stay in the den a while until those cubs are big enough to come out and be safe when they come out.
Factor says they're still doing these den checks across the state for the next couple weeks, so it's too soon to say if the black bear population is trending up or down. The GLP-1 craze is real. We've all seen the countless commercials about the weight loss drugs. They're supposed to help suppress food noise so that people can go about their day without as many cravings, among other benefits and side effects. But what does that mean for the companies that sell the items people crave? Well, the booming weight loss drug industry might not be affecting them too harshly. Start Here host Brad Milkey has more on how GLP-1 drugs are affecting chocolate sales.
At this point, it's clear that the rise of GLP-1 drugs has the power to quite literally reshape the food economy. These drugs suppress a person's appetite and regulate blood sugar, which means they're quickly shifting food habits among users. For some snack makers, though, that's bittersweet. Will people ever want dessert again? But one of the world's most well-known luxury chocolate makers says, if anything, GLP-1s have been good for business. Lindt & Sprungli is a chocolatier based in Switzerland. Their ads always involve chefs in sparkling white linens, delicately stirring their masterpieces.
You really think you can get me to like dark chocolate?
Without a doubt. Well, yesterday, they announced that an internal study found GLP-1 users are consuming more of their chocolate, not less. They say the people on weight loss drugs bought 17% more premium chocolate than a year ago, compared to a 6% rise among all other consumers. Now, this came from a consumer research group they hired, so it should be taken with a giant grain of flaky salt. But there are reasons to be intrigued here. Trials have shown that GLP-1s target hormones in the gut and the brain that control appetite and feelings of fullness. That urge to fill up gets suppressed, which cuts down on what's described as food noise or intrusive thoughts of food. And while that often means people munch on fewer sweet and salty snacks, is not the same as eliminating cravings for certain flavors. Studies actually conflict on whether patients stop wanting to experience sweet flavors like, say, chocolate. Lindt's CEO says if customers are less concerned with eating and more concerned with tasting, they're more likely to purchase smaller, high-quality chocolate.
It's delicious.
Hershey, meanwhile, says it has already seen potential headwinds in this new era of weight loss. Combine that with rising ingredient prices and shipping concerns, and most confectioners remain nervous, regardless of your chocolate tier.
That was Start Here host Brad Milkey. I don't know about you, but my craving is now for a chocolate bar as well.
I've got a perfect puzzle for you. Oompa, loompa, doopa-dee-dee. If you are wise, you'll listen to me.
What do you get when you guzzle down sweets?
Eating as much as an elephant eats. What are you
FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The BYU Cougars getting another chance to play in the Big 12 championship. After a second-half domination over Kansas State last night, they're all set to take on West Virginia in just a few hours.
It's basketball. You love to play. You know, I'm sure the guys they'll be fine. And really it's about the tight turnaround on the preparation to make sure that, we have enough time to get in what we need to get in.
The time is 2 o'clock on Wednesday, March 11th. It's midday. I'm Heather Peterson, in for Maria Shilaos. Coming up, how might the BYU's men's basketball team fare against the Mountaineers tonight? We'll get a preview from KSL Sports. Also this hour, one Utah family trying to get a new day added to the calendar to honor their late father, who was a school crossing guard.
So when I Googled that, I was so surprised and incredibly disappointed that there wasn't one for crossing guards. I'm like, how is this even possible?
The petition to get National Crossing Guard Day made official coming up shortly. But first, our top stories. Police say the man shot and killed by an officer in Draper yesterday was driving with the suspect in a drug investigation. According to the new arrest documents, Sean Shilaos was being monitored by detectives when he drove onto I-15 yesterday and was stopped by a Riverton officer. Police say Shilaos' unnamed passenger was armed and refused to give the gun to the officer. The dispute ended in the officer shooting the passenger, who died from his injuries. Shilaos was then taken into custody and was booked into jail for drug possession charges. Our top national story from ABC News. As the Strait of Hormuz remains closed to shipping traffic, the International Energy Agency says it will release 400 million barrels of oil into the market. It's not clear how much oil will flow daily, but the agency says the emergency reserves will ease up on the strain that countries around the world have been feeling.
In the Strait of Hormuz, the typical oil that was going through on a daily basis there was about 20 million a barrel. So this is a notable number. Important to know right now, we are actually seeing oil prices go up on the back of this announcement. Some of that reflects, and I've just been talking to some oil traders here, some of that reflects the idea that this is still a short-term solution. This is a bit of a Band-Aid to try to get more supply into the market.
ABC's Elizabeth Schulze reporting. Meantime, President Trump took several questions about Iran on the White House South Lawn today. ABC's Stephen Portnoy reports.
Before leaving for stops in and around Cincinnati, the president told reporters Iran has lost its Navy to U.S. strikes.
I would say it was big and ineffective.
Central Command says the U.S. has struck 16 mine-laying vessels. Trump was asked if Iran has laid mines in the Strait of Hormuz.
We don't think so.
The reporter asked if the president believes oil companies should go back to transiting the strait.
I think they should. I think they should use this.
Asked about a New York Times report that an ongoing Pentagon investigation finds a U.S. targeting mistake led to a Tomahawk strike on a school, the president shrugged.
I don't know about it.
Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Other national stories KSL is following. The Bureau of Labor Statistics has its latest assessment on the nation's economy and the rate of inflation.
Economists surveyed before the release of the CPI got it right this time, predicting that inflation from February of last year to February of this would rise 2.4%. Month-to-month core prices, those excluding food and energy, were up 0.2%. It's important to note that the figures released today say nothing about the impact of the U.S.-led attack on Iran because the first salvos were fired on the last day of February.
ABC's Jim Ryan there, and your money at this moment. The Dow is down 289 points, the S&P is down 5, and NASDAQ making a comeback. It's up 19 this hour. Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at UCCU.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
Good speeds, no accidents on your Valley freeways or main secondaries. The final cleanup of a small crash in Salt Lake City on the west side. This is 9th South, about 3400 West, really not impacting a lot of traffic. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
No rain expected the next couple days, but we're seeing some stair-stepping warmth. We're expecting a high of 54 today, 67 tomorrow with some clouds, and 70 degrees by Friday. Right now it's 46 and sunny from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Many people worry they're not making the right investment choices inside their 401ks. Did you know that you might have a little-known opportunity to add some additional investment choices to your 401k and get the help and recommendations you've been looking for? This exciting feature is called a self-directed brokerage window. And the best part? The money still stays within your 401k. Learn how the trusted advisors at Capital Wealth may be able to expand your investment portfolio. To learn more, call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Improving your 401k might mean the difference of retiring a few years earlier. Let's find out. Schedule your no-cost 15-minute consultation with the Capital Wealth team today. Call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor.
Okay, I've got to tell you about something that honestly surprised me. I went down to Peach Doors and Windows to check out their showroom, and these are not your big box store doors. We're talking solid core, reinforced, high security doors that look like they belong on $1 million home. And here's what hit me. Most break-ins don't happen through windows. They happen through the front door. And a lot of doors, they're basically decorative cardboard with a handle. Peach installs doors that are built to take a beating. Heavy-duty hardware, reinforced frames, real security, but they still look absolutely stunning. Whether you're building $1 million home or you just want yours to look like one, your front door is the first impression and the first line of defense. Do yourself a favor. Go see their showroom. Feel the difference. Visit peachdoorsandwindows.com or stop by their showroom today. Upgrade the door. Upgrade the home. Simple as that.
Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson. Maria Shilaos has the day off. The BYU Cougars live to play another day. Last night, they dominated Kansas State University in their first game of the Big 12 championship. In Kansas City, a pretty normal game turned into the Cougars dominating the K-State Wildcats in the second half performance. And A.J. Dubonsky made history, scoring 40 points, which is the most ever scored by a freshman in the Big 12 tournament. Tonight, the Cougs take on West Virginia in round 2 of the tournament. So joining me now on Midday is Jeremiah Jensen, KSL Sports anchor. So let's talk about last night's game. What were some of the big highlights?
Oh, man. Well, it was kind of that roller coaster ride that BYU's put fans on all year long, right? Where you have a slow start. They fell behind by 6 in the first half, and then they were struggling on defense, but then something clicked at the end of the first half. A.J. Dubonsky started getting things going, and then by the second half, they started to click really well, and they started to play with that same energy that they played with against Texas Tech in the regular season finale, which was their biggest win of the year. So A.J. Dubonsky going for 40 points. There's a lot of hope and a lot of excitement coming into this game coming up tonight when they're taking on a West Virginia team who beat them just a little over a week ago. So BYU has revenge on their mind. They've got momentum. A.J.'s hot. Feels pretty good for BYU right now.
And what are we looking forward to in this game, in this matchup, and rematch, really?
Oh, yeah, revenge number one. I don't think that the way they performed in Morgantown last week was up to their standard, and they were frustrated by it, and I know fans were frustrated by it. And then you look at this matchup, and it's a matchup where I think BYU on a neutral floor has an edge. The best player on the court in this game will be A.J. Dubonsky. Can he continue to bring this team along and lead them in the way he has when it comes to scoring, when it comes to energy? And who else is going to step up? They had some guys coming off the bench last night that stepped up and they made some big plays. So can the supporting cast step up? Can A.J. Dubonsky continue to score at a high rate? And is Rob Wright okay? He got hit in the mouth in the game against Kansas State. He had a tooth that came loose and had to be repaired by a dentist. If you saw him post-game, he was all bloodied up and fat-lipped. So hopefully he's okay, and if he is, I like the Cougars' chances tonight.
Okay, so let's switch gears for a moment. How did the U do in their Big 12 championship?
Not great. It's been a tough season for the University of Utah. They're in a transition. Alex Jensen is rebuilding that program. It's going to take some time. I think that there was probably some expectation that they would win a few more games this year. Nobody had any delusions that they were going to make an NCAA tournament run or anything like that. So it wasn't surprising that they made a first-round exit. And they did play hard. They played Cincinnati hard a couple weeks ago when they played them. They played hard again in that game. But the truth is that program has a lot of work to do in the offseason. They've got to go out recruiting. They got to find the funds that you need to get the players that you see that they're on BYU's roster and other teams in the Big 12. There's a lot of work to do for Alex Jensen and his staff. And they get a jump on it now. Their season ends, and they can go out there and try to figure out what the next step is to help Utah basketball get to the next level.
Okay, and let's take a step back. How's the rest of the Big 12 teams looking right now?
Well, I mean, there's so many great teams. Iowa State just absolutely destroyed Arizona State today in a game, and the top of that league is as good as it gets. There's a good chance that the national champion will come from this conference. I really believe that. Arizona as the number 1 seed, Houston is the number 2 seed. They're all capable. Kansas is really good. Iowa State I mentioned. And Texas Tech, even though they lost their best player to injury this year, is really good. That top 5 teams in this league can get to a Sweet 16 or further in the NCAA tournament and possibly win the whole thing. And BYU, if they can beat West Virginia, will have to face the 2 seed Houston in the quarterfinals. So that's a challenge coming up for BYU if they get through this one. But the league is so good, and the top of this league is as good as it gets. This tournament, even if you just like basketball, will be fun to watch because these are the best players and teams in the country.
Okay, so what are you most excited to see?
I want to see this BYU team continue to overcome adversity and find a way. And they have one of the best players in the country, if not the best player in the country, in A.J. Debonsa. Should have been the Big 12 Player of the Year in the conference. It's ridiculous that he wasn't. If you have the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft possibly, there's no limit on what you can do in the postseason. So I want to see BYU continue to overcome this adversity, see some of these players, the supporting cast rise up, and see if this team can't make some noise. There's no reason why they can't because they have the best player on the floor all the time.
Yeah. Well, anything else we should be watching for as we go into these next
I
games?
think that's really it. I think, and we mentioned BYU. Hey, let me give a shout-out to the Utah State Aggies, the Mountain West champions in the regular season. They start play in the Vegas tournament in the Mountain West on Thursday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time against UNLV, which will be a tough one. And Utah Valley has a chance to win the WAC. They know the WAC tried to do everything they could to keep Utah Valley out of it, but the Wolverines have a great chance to go to their first NCAA tournament ever.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for joining me. That was KSL Sports anchor Jeremiah Jensen live in studio. And tonight's BYU game against West Virginia tips off at 5 o'clock with our pregame coverage starting at 4 o'clock. You can catch all the action right here on KSL News Radio, your legacy home of the BYU Cougars. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
Welcome to guided meditation. Close your eyes. You're at the beach. The seagulls are calling. You take out your iPhone 16e you got from Cricket and use Apple Intelligence to clean up that selfie you just took. It's a good one. You send it to your friends instantly with nationwide 5G because Cricket is on the AT&T network. They're totally jealous. Get iPhone 16e for $49.99 when you switch. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new line on the Supreme Unlimited plan. First service charge and tax due at sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
Jane Dawson did something smart. She saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With the money she saved, she got herself a pricey bird feeder with an ultra-high-def camera. Should Jane have just bought a regular bird feeder? Yes. Is it hard for her to admire nature when the camera doubles as the bird's potty? Also, yes. But it's Jane's savings, and if she wants to spend her time watching the digestive habits of the white-breasted nuthatch, we say you go, girl. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Utah Senator John Curtis co-sponsoring a bill that addresses federal government spending and aims to decrease the national debt. I spoke with Senator Curtis to get more information on what he hopes to achieve with this bill.
You know, I think Utahns care probably more than anybody in the United States about our fiscal health. We're very good as a state with our money and managing it. We're good with our families and managing it. And the one place where we're just not good is here at the federal government. And I don't, look, you can look back and blame it on Republicans. You can blame it on Democrats and probably be right in both cases. And so this is us saying very loudly, we need help. And we need to stop and focus on this. So we want to put together a commission and get serious about some suggestions about how we bend this curve and how we get back to a fiscally responsible house.
Okay. And there have been a lot of bills and reforms that have tried to decrease the national debt, but it just keeps going up. So what makes this legislation different?
I told my team that's the first question everybody's going to ask because we've tried over and over and over to do this. So first of all, I would say just because we've tried and failed doesn't mean we shouldn't keep trying. Second, we do have some unique things in this that I think will help it be different. One of those is it's done by Congress instead of the executive branch. That some of the attempts before have been the executive branch trying to do this. And if you don't get congressional buy-in, that's obviously not a good idea. And the third piece is it actually mandates that we vote on the commission's suggestions. So instead of just doing this and doing the report and having it filed away, we have to go on record as to whether or not we support their recommendations or not. And I'm hopeful that we'll get people to take this more seriously, and then it'll be very transparent whether or not your rep or your senator actually voted for it. I think that's an important piece of it.
That was Senator John Curtis there talking about a new bill he's introduced to help reduce the national debt. The family of a late Utah crossing guard has launched a petition to make the anniversary of his death National Crossing Guard Day. Stephen Wynn was struck by a car while working in Layton last year. His daughter, Jennifer Snowden, remembers him as passionate, kind, and always willing to serve.
My father was retired military, and obviously being a dad of 10 kids, he's always just had a soft spot for children, serving the community. So when he retired from the military, we knew he would either A, be a bus driver or B, be a crossing guard. So he took the crossing guard route, and he did that for 2 years, and he leaned into that position. He loved what he did. On the first day of school, he would bring pencils for the kids to pass out pencils as they were on their way to school. At Christmas time, he would dress as Santa because he kind of looked like Santa. He was a big guy, and he had, he would grow his beard out, bushier for Christmas time so that he looked like Santa, to cross the kids to school and pass out candy canes on the last day before they got out for Christmas break. So he loved what he did, and he loved his community.
Snowden said she was surprised to find there was no National Day of Recognition for crossing guards.
So right after we lost our dad, I was, as the oldest, I'm always looking for, something to throw myself into. And so I Googled, when is National Crossing Guard Day? Because as you know, there is a national day for literally everything you could think of. And so when I Googled that, I was so surprised and incredibly disappointed that there wasn't one for crossing guards. I'm like, how is this even possible? You have a National Croissant Day, a National Dentist Day, National Siblings Day, but there's no National Crossing Guard Day. So what it actually is, it's through National Day Calendar. They're kind of like the pseudo-authority on honorary national days. So we have been working this last year to collect endorsements from industry leaders in pedestrian safety, school districts, and then starting this petition so that when I apply with National Day Calendar, we can try to get January 28th recognized by them as National Crossing Guard Days. There are schools and districts throughout the country some of them do recognize their own version of that day, but those dates vary widely, and most don't. And we just want to be able, as a family, that it doesn't matter which state we live in, because I live in Nevada, my siblings live up in Utah, that regardless of whether our specific district or school celebrates a Crossing Guard Day, whether or not they do, at least we have a day that we collectively can celebrate our crossing guard.
Snowden says that she hopes the community will recognize the important work that crossing guards do and appreciate that it can be dangerous. To sign the petition, you can visit change.org and search January 28th as National Crossing Guard Day. The state of Utah pushing ahead with a lawsuit against Live Nation over ticket sales practices that the Attorney General says hurts consumers. This coming even though the DOJ settled their suit. We'll talk with AG Derek Brown next. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio, brought to you by UCCU. Up to $500 for loan transfers. Love where you bank. Ricky?
We do have a vehicle fire in Utah County causing delays. This is southbound I-15, about a mile prior to Summit Ridge Parkway in Santaquin, not far from 6 South. If you're headed that direction, be prepared to merge left. Crews are blocking that right lane. Traffic's rough, but your parking lot doesn't have to be. GoPave Utah keeps things smooth with expert asphalt maintenance at gopavutah.com. That's gopavutah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
An emergency can happen any second. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. When you need medical care fast, the closest emergency room is a smart thing to know. Common Spirit Health ERs are your direct path between feeling scared or uncomfortable and feeling better. Find emergency care in your neighborhood at mountain.commonspirit.org.
The Salt Lake Chamber is Utah's voice for business. Okay, that sounds great, but what does it really mean? Well, as Utah's largest and longest standing business association, they support and champion community prosperity throughout the state. And if you're in business, well, that's a very good thing for you. Be sure to listen to the Chamber's Speaking on Business, weekdays at 7:20, 11:55, and 5:20 p.m. on KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Do you have at least 1 month worth of food in your pantry? If not, you should definitely go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. My Patriot Supply is America's #1 supplier of long-term storable food. They've helped over 3 million Americans get prepared. And for a limited time, when you order their best-selling 4-week food supply, you'll get an additional week of food absolutely free. There's no catch, but act fast because this offer ends soon. Claim your free emergency food kit now at mypatriotsupply.com. That's mypatriotsupply.com.
Here's a tale of Linda trying to lose weight, but the med prices she found were all over the place.
Hidden fees and markups made her jaw drop low. Then she found Good RX. Now she's in the know.
GLP-1 subscriptions FDA approved.
With clear upfront pricing.
And same-day pickup.
That's Good RX, the no-nonsense way. Save time and money on prescriptions.
Get to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
This message is for Shauna, my mom, who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You taught me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson in for Maria Shilaos. Utah's Attorney General vowing to continue a legal fight against Ticketmaster's parent company, Live Nation. It comes after the U.S. Department of Justice settled their own legal dispute on Monday. The earlier lawsuit argued that Live Nation had a monopoly on the ticketing industry, driving up ticket prices and forcing out competition. The settlement with the DOJ requires some concessions to be made by the company. Live Nation will pay $280 million in penalties and will have to have some of its technology available to other companies. But Utah Attorney General Derek Brown said that despite the national settlement, Utah will continue to pursue legal action. Joining me now live on Midday to give us some extra insight is Attorney General Derek Brown. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit about this decision. Why is Utah moving forward with the legal action?
Well, one of the things that matters most to me is to make sure that the system, our economic system, has competition. I have an entire antitrust team that is dedicated to make sure that we have robust competition, and that includes in the live entertainment space. And so I'm not convinced that this proposed settlement gets us anywhere near what we should be getting to preserve the integrity of the system. Because I think what a lot of people don't understand is that we have one company that effectively owns venues and the concert promotion side and the artist management side and the ticketing in all of those different channels. And so when one company owns and controls all of those different channels from top to bottom, there's a real problem with competition. And so my goal is to make sure that there is a fair market and that Utahns don't have to pay more than they need to buy tickets to a live show.
So can you elaborate on some of those unfair practices you're worried about?
Well, one of the things that we've seen is forcing, for instance, a company to have to use, say, Ticketmaster as opposed to others. And so this is the problem when you had about 15 years ago, Live Nation purchased Ticketmaster. And one of the concerns that the Department of Justice had at that time was the monopoly effect. And how do we make sure that ticket prices aren't artificially inflated? And so one of the concerns that we've had is making sure that competition exists and it keeps prices fair, because when a monopoly takes over, Utahns are the ones that end up footing the bill, because, I mean, it shouldn't be sort of this rigged system. And so my goal is to make sure that we get the best settlement possible for Utahns when it comes to buying tickets to see, your favorite artist or any sort of professional sports game or that sort of thing.
Right, okay. And so this is part of a bipartisan multi-state effort, is that right?
Yes, we have a lot of states, both Republican and Democrat states. I've been working with, attorneys general from across the aisle, and we are all committed to moving forward to make sure that we get the best deal possible for people in our respective states. And I, of course, am looking out for the folks that live in my state of Utah.
And so what are you hoping to see when this change is all said and done?
Well, ideally, what we want to see is more competition in the marketplace. We feel like the way the system is structured, I mean, if you think about it, when one company owns not just the venues, but the management of the artists and the promotion of the shows and then the ticketing for all the other three, it gives them a real power in the marketplace that's a monopoly effect that drives up prices. So ultimately, to answer your question, what we want to see are lower ticket prices for Utahns. And when there's competition in the marketplace, real competition, I'm convinced that we're going to see those prices go down naturally.
Lower prices sounds good to me. Attorney Brown, thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Every 2 minutes, another American is sexually assaulted. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, you are not alone. Help is just a call or click away through the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Please call 1-800-656-HOPE, that's HOPE, or visit rain.org, that's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by Rain and this station.
It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Heather Peterson. Some of the stories we're watching this hour: Salt Lake City leaders reacting to hundreds of bills passed by state lawmakers. Republican lawmakers reportedly nervous about another mega policy bill. We'll get details in KSL traffic.
We do have delays on I-15 in Santaquin. Heather?
And we'll get KSL's top local stories in just 1 minute. Right now, it is 2:30.
ABC News
News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In a warning to law enforcement reviewed by ABC News, the FBI says it recently acquired information Iran allegedly aspired to conduct a surprise attack on targets in California using unmanned drones from an unidentified vessel off the coast. Former Homeland Security official Michael Baldoni tells ABC News any Iranian-banked sleeper cell threat is hard to track.
Iran has spent many, many years developing that network. Where they are, the FBI has done an excellent, in my opinion, has done an excellent job of rooting them out. But again, we don't know the numbers. We don't know how they've been trained. We don't know what their capabilities are.
Law enforcement also says there is no evidence that a drone attack plan has been put into motion. The longtime accountant of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein was deposed today by the House Oversight Committee in its probe of Epstein. On Wall Street today, stocks ending mixed with lingering concerns over rising oil and gas prices due to the Iran war. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall is calling this one of the most productive legislative sessions the city has had so far. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff reports from outside Salt Lake City Hall.
Mayor Mendenhall says there will always be some differences between the needs and wants of the city and the legislature, but that she appreciates the relationships that have been fostered with state leadership.
I'd say the banner theme for me in this session is that we have good relationships with state leadership, and we have been able to get through this session where we are because they have worked with us more than they've worked against us.
The city was tracking 351 bills during the legislative session, including 53 high-priority bills. Some of those include a bill that affects property taxes, several transportation bills, a bill affecting water going into the Great Salt Lake, and a bill that increases the amount cities without homeless shelters have to pay into an account that funds those shelters. Reporting from outside Salt Lake City Hall, Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
Other local stories KSL is following. Spanish Fork officials say a brush fire that burned 11 acres yesterday is believed to be human-caused. The city says the fire in the Legacy Farms area just south of Hidden Springs Park began sometime around noon. If you happen to see anything suspicious in the area yesterday, the city says to report it to the fire department. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 289 points. The S&P is down 5, and the NASDAQ is up 19 points. Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Direct deposit gets you $300. Love where you bank. Here's Ricky Meese.
Delays due to a vehicle fire. This is in Utah County, southbound I-15, about a mile prior to Summit Ridge Parkway. It caused backups to about 600 south in Santaquin. Had been blocking a right lane. That right lane is now open, so these delays should clear. Celebrate Easter at Abravanel Hall March 30th. Join Grammy-nominated Jenny Oaks Baker and experience The Redeemer, a breathtaking musical journey honoring Jesus Christ. Save 15% with code RISEN15 at jennyoaksbaker.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
No rain expected the next couple days, but we will see it get warmer and warmer. A high of 54 today, 67 tomorrow with some clouds, and 70 degrees by Friday. Then this weekend, it'll likely stay dry as we see temps in the mid-60s Saturday and mid-50s on Sunday. Right now, it's 46 degrees and mostly sunny from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
This Friday from 10 to 1, the movie show comes to Sound Sleep. But first, take time to learn about a better night's rest. Sound Sleep delivers oral appliance therapy that treats sleep apnea without the use of CPAP machines. They're professionally fit, warranted, and covered by most major medical insurance. End the days of a poor night's sleep. With offices from Clearfield to St. George, Sound Sleep will help. Call Sound Sleep at 801-716-8672 today.
Business technology has changed a lot over the last 70 years, but one thing hasn't.
Les Olson is here.
As the years have passed, there's been one constant. And after 70 years and still counting, Les Olson IT is here with the technology and the people to make life easier, more productive, and more secure for your business. Let Les be here for you.
Right now, UCCU is offering short-term savings options with incredibly high yields.
Simply make a deposit, then watch your savings grow with a fixed rate of return that's much higher than a savings account. UCCU also has great offers on jump-up options. So if rates continue to rise, you can jump up your rate and earn even more. Visit uccu.com to learn more and supercharge your savings today. UCCU. Love where you bank.
I'm Walker Kessler, and I play basketball for a living. So I know how important it is to have the support of a team you can trust. That's why I love UCCU. UCCU is more than a credit union. They're a true financial partner, a local team of experts your entire family can trust at every step of your financial journey. Just visit uccu.com and elevate your banking experience.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson. One man is now dead following an officer-involved shooting on I-15 in Draper yesterday. Thousands of Utahns found themselves in a massive traffic jam last night due to that shooting, some people waiting hours just to get from Salt Lake to Utah County. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera was there as the situation was breaking and has been looking through police documents today.
It really was a tough evening for drivers in the area. Investigators shut down basically southbound I-15 at Bangerter Highway after we got word of an officer-involved shooting. I actually live nearby on the edge of Sandy and Draper and drove down to the scene as close as I could get. And what normally takes just a few minutes to get around on side streets actually took me more than a half an hour just to get anywhere near it. That's how bad traffic was backed up, right? For everyone trying to get around that closure. We even caught word that first responders on the way got caught up in the traffic, had a hard time getting there because it was during the big rush home.
Oh, man. And now we're learning actually what was going on during that time and what led up to the shooting. So what do you know about that?
Exactly. So, new court documents we've been going through here at the office are helping fill in some of those gaps, right? So investigators say police were actually watching a home in Riverton as part of a narcotics investigation when they saw a man named Sean Shilaos leave in a red Cadillac with another man. Then at some point during that surveillance, a Riverton police officer pulled the car over on I-15 in Draper.
And then so what happened during that traffic stop?
Right. So according to police, they say officers noticed the passenger had a handgun on him. And when they asked him to hand it over, he refused and started an altercation with officers outside the car. During that confrontation, investigators say an officer fired their weapon, hitting that passenger. Then he was airlifted to a hospital nearby in critical condition. But as we heard a couple hours ago, police say he later died from his injuries. And authorities still haven't released his name while they notify family members.
So what about the driver of the car then?
Right. So investigators say the driver was 47-year-old Sean Michael Shilaos. He was detained after that incident. And police say when officers searched him, they actually found a small bag with a white powder that tested positive for cocaine. Court documents say he later admitted to that, and he's now been booked in the Salt Lake County Jail on drug possession charge.
Okay, and so what happens next in the investigation?
So the officer involved has been placed on administrative leave, which is standard in situations like this. We've seen that happen at every officer-involved shooting. And the shooting itself is now being reviewed by Utah's Officer-Involved Critical Incident Protocol Team, which is basically a multi-agency group that investigates police shootings across the state.
That was KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera there.
Eye on the Hill 2026. Special coverage on KSL News Radio.
Salt Lake City leaders responding today to hundreds of bills from the legislative session. Mayor Aaron Mendenhall saying the city tracked 351 bills this session, roughly 1/3 of all bills introduced. While they weren't able to get everything they wanted, the mayor says she was pleased with the overall outcome of the session and what that means for city residents.
Some bills required months of negotiating leading up to the session to bring them to a place that would best serve our residents. And I can say, without a doubt, this is one of the most productive legislative sessions that we've had as far as our relationship goes with state legislators.
She thanks state leaders, most of whom are Republicans, for committing to work with the city rather than against the city. She credits these relationships for much of the success this legislative session.
It's taken years for us to foster these relationships because many of them failed to previously exist. I'm confident that Salt Lakers are better today because of those relationships that we've forged, and I appreciate the legislature recognizing the importance of local government in our state. There are, of course, sometimes differences, major differences, between Salt Lake City and the legislature, but we are always going to stay at the table, and I'm committed to working with our partners on Capitol Hill to always bring about the best potential outcomes we can for Salt Lakers.
Many of the bills city leaders tracked this session dealt with tax reform, economic development, transportation, public safety and homelessness, energy and water and immigration. Legislative Affairs Director for the city, Angela Price, echoed the mayor's praise of the session, saying it was one of the best sessions for the city. She credits much of the success not only to the relationships that have been forged over the years, but also to the fact that so many bills introduced this year didn't pass.
This was more a session of what didn't pass, and I think there was a lot of bills that were held in rules or that moved through one chamber and didn't move through the other that would have had really profound impacts on Salt Lakers, and so we're grateful that leadership really focused on sound policy this year during the legislative session that addressed statewide issues and didn't focus specifically on Salt Lake or specific areas.
Mayor Mendenhall says she's glad state lawmakers held some bills that would have, as city leaders put it, impeded on local control over streets. More Midday in just 60 seconds.
Amanda, I've got a cruise planned in a couple of months, and I was thinking about the other people who may have cruises planned coming up a few months from now, and why right now would be the best time for them to begin their weight loss journey on Soda Weight Loss.
If you started right now, you could lose 20, 30, 40 pounds before June.
That's right.
I lost 37 pounds in 3 months, 3.5 years ago. And the beauty about soda is it's not a quick fix. This is learning that is going to last you the rest of your life and help you be healthy.
Your clothes fit better, your energy comes back, you don't get winded going upstairs.
Yeah.
Things that maybe you don't even realize. When I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, it felt like a transformation.
You learn what works for your body so you don't get addicted to shots or drugs. You just work with a nutritionist who's going to teach you how to keep the weight off for a lifetime.
Right now, you should go check out sodaweightloss.com, see all the thousands of before and after pictures, or speak with a nutritionist by giving a call 866-800-SODA.
Soda Weight Loss. Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
Republicans on Washington's Capitol Hill working toward a second policy mega bill, something similar to the One Big Beautiful bill last year. This coming while some lawmakers voice concerns over adding non-relevant parts of some pieces of legislation. Let's break this all down with Deseret News congressional correspondent Cami Mondo. Cami, let's start with this so-called legislative chicken you wrote about, the one with another mega bill. What do we know about this?
Absolutely. And so what we know is that Republicans are kind of unsure if they want to go down this route known as reconciliation, which is how they passed Trump's big, beautiful bill last summer. A lot of Republicans say they would like to do it, but there are others who say it's just not worth another shot, that they wouldn't be able to get it through. And so it seems like the biggest question on getting everybody on board is whether to even try.
What are the holdups on it?
So what we know right now is that Jason Smith, he is one of the top Republicans on the Ways and Means Committee, which that would be one of the tax writers of this bill, so he would be very instrumental. He says that he doesn't think it's possible to get another partisan package through because their majorities are so slim in the House and Senate, and also there's just not clear what exactly they would package in there that they didn't get through the first time.
Okay, so let's shift to Congressman Blake Moore, who's voiced some opposition to some additional additions to the SAVE Act that President Trump wants. Can you tell more about this?
For sure. Trump earlier this week said that he wanted, Republicans to add more policies to this election bill. He wants to add, restrictions on transgender surgeries for children, as well as bans on men participating in women's sports. The election-related bill would not fit in there ordinarily. And so what Representative Blake Moore is saying is he's saying that he doesn't think it's a good idea to add unrelated provisions to a bill because then it kind of loses its strength. It might lose support here or there.
Okay. How much do you think the upcoming midterm elections are kind of playing into, the moves that Congress members are making right now with this?
I think that's definitely the question of, they want to put something through that gives them a little bit of an edge with voters in November. Historically, the House usually does flip away from whatever party is in charge of the White House. So Republicans are looking to see what else that they can do to build on their success while they still have a trifecta, but there's just no consensus on what that might be.
Okay. Any other kind of standout concepts in this mega bill that we should be aware of?
I think the only thing is that we're just not sure what is going to be in there. Speaker Johnson was telling us yesterday that there's whittling down some ideas. You would think that that was what they would want to get done this week while they were at their annual issues conference, but it seems that there's still just no decision on what exact policies they want.
Okay, thank you so much. That's Deseret News congressional correspondent Cami Mondo joining us live on Midday. When you're looking for a quick bite to eat, what's the place you go to for the best value? Text me your thoughts at 57500 and we'll talk about new findings on the best value burger after the break. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio, brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Ricky?
Listeners tipping us off about a small crash in Davis County southbound on I-15 approaching SR 193 7th South in Clearfield. Those vehicles are over to the left. It's a tight squeeze between the left shoulder where they're at and the HOV lane. You've got that barrier, but it did cause a little bit of a delay, and we're still waiting for emergency crews to arrive. Gear up for adventure at the Utah RV Super Show for top brands. Talk with experts and see the latest 2026 RVs. March 19th through 22nd at Mountain America Expo Center, UtahRVSupershow.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's all about creativity. Dave's Bernina. Special discounts and fantastic savings.
In our Provo and St. George stores. The top-of-the-line Bernina 990, L890, and 790 and 770 Pro machines are on sale. They come with a limited-time offer of free Bernina accessories, software, and sewing extras, valued from $3,000 to $4,600.
Come in now.
Add to all this savings, 60 months, no interest on certain models.
All new Berninas come with a 5-year warranty and free classes.
Buy one and get one 50% off on all Bernina hoops. Dave's Bernina has made a special purchase of previously owned Bernina 330s for only $499 while supplies last, with a 2-year warranty and free classes.
Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo. Dave'sBernina.com.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother. A necklace tucked away in a drawer. Pieces full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jeweler specializes in reimagining family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Duke's on-site jewelers and designers work with you one-on-one to honor the original story, while creating something fresh, modern, and uniquely yours. From resetting diamonds into new engagement rings, to transforming multiple heirloom pieces into one stunning design. Every project is crafted with care, precision, and intention. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers on Main Street in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com. Duke's Jewelers, where old stories become new treasures. dukesjewelers.com.
This weekly tax tip is brought to you by the Utah Association of Certified Public Accountants. Here's CEO Susan Spears.
Did you buy a new car in 2025? There's a new tax break that could save you money when you file your federal taxes this year. Under the new law, you may be able to deduct up to $10,000 of interest. To qualify, the vehicle must be new, purchased in calendar year 2025, and have final assembly in the United States. Used vehicles do not qualify. This deduction applies to personal vehicles only. And it's not just sedans, minivans, SUVs, trucks, and even motorcycles, as long as they have a GVW rating under 14,000 pounds. You can claim this deduction even if you take the standard deduction, although there are income limits.
Get the most out of your income tax preparation when you hire a licensed CPA. Visit uacpa.org to find a CPA that's right for you. And check out new tax tip videos by following on social media at Talk to Your CPA.
Who is Farm Bureau Financial Services? At our core, we're relationship builders. We're home and auto bundlers, life insurers, farm and ranch protectors, and retirement planners. We're neighbors, community members, and friends. We're the people you can count on now and for years to come. Find a Farm Bureau agent at fbfs.com/protect. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show him you love him. Keep him safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Breaking news here on Midday. I'm Heather Peterson. President Trump speaking right now about the state of the economy and the Iran conflict. Let's listen in for a minute.
First Logistics is investing more than $10 million into expanding its operations this year, right here. $10 million. And you're buying brand new tractor trailers and opening up warehouses in 2 additional states, Texas and North Carolina. And that's what it's all about. And that's why we did it. And with the help of our tax cuts, all of those trucks and warehouses and equipment purchases, everything that we're doing, and everything that you see in this country that's being built, you get what's called expensing, meaning a deduction in the first year. 1 year, it's the bit. Now, to a lot of people, that doesn't mean. To me, it means something else. It means jobs. That's why we have so many jobs, the best jobs ever. Perhaps most importantly to the workers here today, I'm pleased to report that the great big beautiful bill also delivers no tax on overtime. Whoever thought that was going to happen? That means every extra hour you work, your overtime pay is now 100% tax-free. You have no tax. Remember that when you go and vote, because the Democrats want to end it. So you take home 20 or 30% more to those beautiful children or whoever the hell you're bringing it home to, okay? I don't know who you're bringing it home to. I don't want to know. That's not my business, although it could be interesting. After so many years of politicians who sold out the working men and women of our country, we finally have a president who puts American workers first.
We'll continue to track the president's comments and bring you updates on Jeff Kaplan's afternoon news.
The following is a test of the emergency alert system.
When you're craving a burger, you might not think too much about the value, but in today's world, when food can be expensive and you have to think about getting the most bang for your buck, value is important. So text me your thoughts. What fast food place has the best value? Midday executive producer Andy Cupp joins me now in studio to explain why we're talking about this. Andy?
So, Heather, I was reading the Deseret News this morning, and they had an article from Emma Neff, one of their interns, who looks at these trending stories. And the title caught my eye. Think your In-N-Out burger is a steal? Think again. And this one, it goes through and it looks at kind of where the best value is for your burger, the best bang for your buck. And so this is what I thought was really funny. It says, it may be a shock to many, but the winner is not In-N-Out. And a lot of people in our Facebook comments said In-N-Out, so I think this is a little surprising. It says, so this is a study from Net Credit, and they looked at the best value burger from major chains, and the number one best value is one that's not even here in Utah. It's Whataburger. The classic Whataburger had the largest patty of 14 chains and the best overall value of $1.66 per ounce of meat. Now, here in Utah, where we don't have Whataburger, you might be wondering, okay, so what's the best? According to this data, McDonald's takes the lead with its classic cheeseburger coming down to $1.91 an ounce. Second place is Smashburger's All-American Smash at $1.96 per ounce. In-N-Out comes in at 12. Number 12, with its cheeseburger costing $2.91 an ounce. A&W's cheeseburger is below that at $3.13, and Five Guys Little Cheeseburger at $3.59. Now, a little side note here. We're talking burgers, but what do you have when you have a burger? You have fries. The best fry value, according to this data, is from Shake Shack. They have the most expensive fries on the list, but they have a huge portion. So it comes in at 40 cents an ounce, whereas at Sonic, it was $1.27 per ounce of potatoes, and so that came in last.
Okay.
But we asked people on social media because I needed to know what other people thought too.
Yeah, we on Facebook, we had some responses here. Marley said people sleep on Arctic Circle. They have great burgers and shakes and are very well priced. And Jared says Carl's Jr. all day. James, he said definitely In-N-Out, not only value but freshness. Sorry, James, it sounds like you were not correct on that one, according to this survey. In fact, several of you said In-N-Out, which is interesting given the report that Andy just talked about. Otherwise, Rachel says Chubby's. Leanne said Apollo, Crown, or Astro Burger. Al says love Arctic Circle. And Adam said, bang for your buck is a matter of opinion. And in his opinion, the best value place is Habit Burger and Grill. I do love a good Habit Burger. I just got a text in. It said Chick-fil-A here has some great value. No stores in Utah have seen a price increase since November 2023, which is pretty remarkable. Not a burger, though. Sorry.
No, not a burger, unfortunately.
But I do think it's interesting because, this is bang for your buck. But also, quality and the taste of your burger matters. So, it's not always about just the money. It's about the burger you prefer.
And I think that's why a lot of people would roll their eyes at this data showing that McDonald's has the best value here in Utah. Because maybe it has the best value, but I don't know many people who are out there craving a McDonald's burger every day. I mean, some people, to each their own, but...
You should ask my kids every week. They're begging for McDonald's.
This is true.
My wife.
Jeff Kaplan?
Yeah.
Your wife?
Yeah.
Loves the McDonald's burger?
The McDonald's.
Interesting.
I like the Five Guys burger. I mean, it's not the best value for sure.
But you have to be ready to eat at
Yeah.
Five Guys. Those are chunky burgers, and then you add those fries in.
Oh, yeah,
It's
but you get to customize all the toppings.
It's so expensive, though. I remember when
It's
Five
gotten
Guys wasn't that
worse,
bad,
too.
and it's bad.
Ugh.
I am an In-N-Out guy myself, so... I mean,
It's
I
'cause
do.
you're a West Coast guy,
Because I'm a West Coast guy.
Californian.
Get that lettuce wrap, double, animal style with lettuce wrap.
Yeah, I don't know if
so
it's that
good.
great, but it's that cheap. That's for sure.
It is.
And it's fresh. It tastes fresh.
Right.
A couple more texts came in. Del Taco. Vote for Del Taco burgers over here.
Any taco place that also has burgers, I'm a little
You
suspicious
doubt the quality?
of. Yeah, like Jack in the Box. They got tacos and burgers and egg rolls. I don't know about that.
Katie texted $2 an ounce. Doesn't even make sense. For real value, it's Millie's. That's according to another texter.
I don't know what that one is.
I've never heard of Millie's.
Yeah.
And then out of all those places you've named, In-N-Out, the only place I can get my wife and I dinner for $20. You may not be getting $1 per patty value, but it is the cheapest. Thanks for
Can't argue with
texting
that.
in,
Yeah.
everybody. Jeff Kaplan's afternoon news is coming up, so I will sign off. Thanks for joining me. I'm Heather Peterson in for Midday today, and Maria will be back next week.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. It's 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan. We're at 46 in Salt Lake City, KSL's top story. We have new details about yesterday's I-15 shutdown at Bangor, sparked by a police drug investigation that ended with a gunshot and an armed man dead. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera was there as the traffic was backing up for hours last night. Now he's joining us live with the very latest. Eric.
Jeff, according to arrest documents KSL obtained, detectives were watching a Riverton home as part of a narcotics investigation when they saw 47-year-old Sean Shilaos leave in a red Cadillac with another man.